Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the Super Rugby Pacific 2023 semi-final. It is going to be a home game for the Crusaders, who currently have an immaculate record in Christchurch when it comes to playoff games. But the Blues, the hungry away side, perhaps they can cause a bit of an upset here. But we are about 15 minutes away from the kickoff. We've got the lineup. We're going to be looking through at a few previous results of these two sides as well. Try and predict how we think this match will end up going. But first of all, looking through at this home side for the Crusaders, they are looking pretty strong. They have had a couple injury troubles, such as, unfortunately, once again, Ethan Blackadder will be missing from this side. Still no Sam Whitelock, and of course, still no Sever Reese from earlier on in the season. But the front row to Mighty Williams and number 1, number 2, Cody Taylor, and then number 3, Ollie Yager. Now, Williams was the only man to not score a try in that front row up against the Fijian draw last week. So perhaps up against the Blues could be where he finds himself over the try line. Scott Barrett at number 4. Quite a few enforcing hits that he has been doing recently. Some hard tackles could be important. The physicality game of the Blues. And then Quinton Strange finds himself starting at number 5. In the loose forward trio, it will be Sione Havili Talatui at number 6. Number 7, attack the machine, Tom Christie. And then number 8, they have gone with the youngster Christian Leo Willie, who has been doing very well throughout this season, being physical off the back of a scrum, and also just adds that little bit of a running opportunity round the side of the breakdown. Player to certainly watch out for throughout this semi-final. The backline, Mitch Drummond and Richie Mo'unga, the same combination that they did go with last week. The game up against the Fijian draw, which there was a little bit of a question mark because of Richie Mo'unga's late injury in that contest. It was a bit of a calf. Seems to be better now, though. So hopefully does go well in this contest. Jack Goodhue and Braden Eno going to be the midfield combination with the try-scorer machine. Lester Whainanoku out on the left wing. Dallas McLeod keeps a spot on the right, and then Will Jordan slotting in as the number 15. But looking through the chat, we have got Nazi Williams in the chat. Also, Just Carl is here up the Blues, says Karitiana. Hopefully I've said that correctly. And also Crusaders all night now, says TFO. Tell you what, it's going to be a hard game for the Blues, but I feel like looking at the betting odds, you wouldn't think that this Blues side has lost 17 of the last 18 games up against the Crusaders, because looking at the odds, the Blues only just come in as underdogs, $2.20, I believe they were, compared to about the $1.60 that the Crusaders found themselves as favourite. Crusaders win 13+. Goodhue first try scorer, decent shout there. Jack Goodhue always looking strong in that midfield, and now that there's a little bit more of a gap, I guess you could say, at number 12. After Geordie Barrett didn't play that well in his last couple of games, people were saying, well, maybe now the inside centre line or the inside centre role is going to be on the line. Someone like a Jack Goodhue, Anton Leonard-Brown, Rame Kapoihipi, all of these players got potential maybe finding themselves in the ABs, and that is actually going to be announced on Sunday. That makes it just that little bit more exciting. Will Reese make the All Blacks? If you're talking Sever Reese, then no, mainly because of his injury. I believe he will be out for until almost the end of the year, I believe, for Sever Reese. Unfortunately, looking through at this Blues side, they have lost a couple players also due to injury, mainly in the locking duo. No Tui Pelotu, no Derry for this contest, but Ofa Tuangafasi, Ricky Riccatelli, and Nepo Lulala will be the front row. A lot of physicality there between those three. I think that the battle of the rolling maul with Riccatelli and Taylor will be something to definitely watch out for in the semi-final. Tom Robinson, Big Red, at number 4 with James Tucker slotting in as 5, Akiriwani, Dalton Papali, and Hoskins Tutu, the loose forward trio. And I feel like Papali in this game, once again, it's a big opportunity because Sam Cane, he's been playing pretty decently throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season. Someone like a Billy Harmon, Tom Christie, a few of these guys who haven't quite had that opportunity for the ABs, they will be knocking on the door trying to get a breakthrough game. And someone like a Dalton Papali, if he steps up in this game, I feel he will definitely secure a spot. Finley Christie at number 9, probably a little bit of a question mark for whether or not he will be one of the ABs announced on Sunday. Bowden Barrett at number 10, Bryce Heem and Rico Ioane as the midfield combination. Caleb Clark returns to the starting lineup out on the left wing after missing last week's game. Instead, it was AJ Lamb who did end up starting. Mark Talia, he's currently tied with the most tries scored throughout a season, and that is tied with Doug Hallett from about 20 years ago. So if he gets himself a try in this game, he will overtake that record and certainly walk his way into the ABs. And then Zahn Sullivan, number 15, the youngster with the long left boot, looking for those kicks downfield. Maybe a 50-22 could be on the cards for them in this matchup. I'm looking through at the chat once again. Afternoon, Kiwi lads. Hope you had a good week. Hamish says Blues Nate. It has flown by with the Ashes coming just around the corner. We will be covering them later on tonight, hopefully all the way through to 5:30 a.m. So it's going to be quite a nice long night for us here due to or with the commentary that we have got, but it's going to be exciting. Week has flown by. Hopefully it's the same next week and we're right into the final before we know it. Kiwi lads, good evening. Finally we're here. Says Spider Meek and Caleb Clark, first try scorer, says Nazi Williams. And this game is good for New Zealand rugby building up to the World Cup and beyond, says Gita. Good evening from Melbourne. I'm a former Aucklander who will never return there. Go the Crusaders, says Andrew Watts. Well, that's the thing. The Crusaders, they are definitely favourites, but it seems like even a few of the ones elsewhere, outside of Canterbury, do still want the Crusaders to be victorious here. I feel like they want them in the final because then either the Chiefs, imagine Chiefs Crusaders in the final, that would certainly be a good game. Although Chiefs versus Blues, that's got a bit of a ring to it, doesn't it? And any place I can watch this game for free, man, I'm in South Africa. Unfortunately, other than a free trial on Stan Sport, which you will need a VPN to be able to watch, other than that, there's not really too many options to be able to catch this game. Luckily, there will be the highlights straight after the game, but of course, that doesn't quite equal being able to watch it live. Any sneaky rugby shirt, any rugby shirt hiding tonight? Nah. What is it? It's just a plain stripy one. I don't think that even remotely covers either side's colours, so pretty impartial for this matchup. And say it is yesteryear. Today the Blues, says Spider Mick. Yeah, the last 17 out of 18 times. I know that the Blues bet them 4 games ago, I believe it was, if I'm not wrong, and I believe that was actually just showing Scott Robinson just doing a bit of a break dance. Leon McDonald, of course, those two are going to be working together for the ABs next year, but for now they're rivals. And 4 titles won from Robinson as a player, 6 for Leon McDonald, so he's got a few more in the resume in that regard. But as a coach, he's won quite a few, 6 so far for the man Scott Robinson. And Blues to win by 9 points, says Farid. And also go the Blues, says Justin. Go Crusaders, says Aparama. And let's go the Blues, says Teddy Pie here as well. But looking through at the benches, which could be where this game is won, depending on the start that these two sides get. We did see the Blues, they were a little bit slow getting started up against the Waratahs, but once they found that momentum, they were extremely hard to stop. So that is something they'll be trying to do earlier than about the 15-minute mark, is really put the Crusaders under pressure. Although the Crusaders in their game up against the Drua, from start to finish, they were just running rampage pretty much, best way of describing it. But their bench for the Crusaders, Brodie McAllister, Sykes Martin at number 17, Ruben O'Neill at 18, Gardner and Killo, the 2 replacements. Of course, Blackadder now out due to injury, which is a big shame. He is a very talented player. Willie Hines, the experienced veteran, at number 21, Fergus Burke at 22, and Che Thiaki there at 23 for the Blues. Kurt Eklund, Jordan Lay, and Marcel Renata in the front row replacements. Cameron Suafua at 19. That man might be able to add a little bit later in the contest. And Adrian Choke is at number 20, Sam Knight 21, Harry Plummer 22, and Stephen Petafetta close out their side is at number 23. So no Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, which I know was a question that quite a few people were asking, but yeah, he has been left out once again. They will be without him. Your favourite team or your favourite rugby team in the world? It's a tricky one because I have favourite teams for different competitions, which, I mean, I'm normally pretty impartial. So I feel like the best kit I feel out of anyone is the Hurricanes, just because I really like yellow, as you guys can probably tell from the channel logo. And Kiwi lad is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in the lineup. He is not for this game, so they have left him out once again. And shooting him from the snowy Rocky Mountains, says Pate. So it is hugely appreciated you being here for this contest. Do let me know your score predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. As this one, I feel like the thing is, it's either going to be a low-scoring close game or it's going to be a high-scoring one where both sides are just throwing absolutely everything into it. I think the last thing anyone wants for this game is for it to have a whole heap of penalties, a whole heap of scrums. Everyone wants to see that free-flowing rugby. And, I think we're going to get it in this contest. Fingers crossed. Last time these two sides played, it was 15 points to 3. We only saw 2 tries from the Crusaders, and the Blues, for the first and only time of this year, they were left tryless in a contest for Super Rugby, and 30-23 for the Crusaders, 32-14 in favour of the Crusaders is Jason's bet as well. Who's the ref? Says Nazi Williams. Who is the ref? for this game. I'm going to have a quick Google. I believe it's Ben O'Keefe. I could be wrong. Luckily, they will have it here for me to be able to see. Crusaders 31-17, 25-21 to the Blues up at 5 a.m. The All Whites game. Hemi says Spider Meg. I think at 5 a.m. we wouldn't have gone to bed yet because of the cricket, if I'm not wrong. How do I see the referee for this game? It doesn't actually have it there where I thought it was. It just tells me whereabouts the game has taken place. I guess we will find out very soon in terms of who it's going to be. And shout out guys all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, says Farid. What a great game coming up. Pity my Cane's going to make it through, but still going to enjoy the Chiefs kicking Brumbies' butt, says Farid. And yeah, that's going to be a great game tomorrow night. Saturday, 7:05. What is the time by you, mate? It is 7:01 p.m. So we are 4 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest. And Bolivanaka says Doco 20. Welcome in, mate. It's going to be a good game. It's hard to predict who will be the player who really steps up in this contest, because whoever does, with the All Blacks calling just around the corner, it's the perfect time to do so. And Go the Blues says Carmen and the team with an E is going to win their name, or in their name will win. There's Nomum. Okay. Fair enough. Or an S, finishing their name with an S. And 24-15 for the Blues to win, says Farid. So yeah, it does seem to be a relatively 50-50 split in terms of who's going for the Crusaders and who is going for the Blues. And go Mark Talia says Daniel Watson. It's 9 a.m. here in South Africa, says Farid. Yeah, the two sides looking very strong. We will show them once again for anyone who did miss it right at the start. We'll start with the home side, the Crusaders. And they are as follows: to Mike D. Williams at number 1, Cody Taylor number 2, and then number 3. It is going to be the dangerous Ollie Jaeger, actually scoring himself the first try of the last contest. They did play up against the Drew, Scott Barrett and Quinton Strange as the lock-in duo. Sione Havili Talatui, Tom Christie, and Christian Leo Willie there at number 8. Mitch Drummond and Richie Moonga, the 19 combo. Jack Gutu and Braden Enor in the midfield. Then Lester Whainanuku out on the left wing. Dallas McLeod out on the right. And Will Jordan close out the side at number 15. Quickly looking through at the Blues. Ofa Tuangafasi, Ricky Riccatelli, and Nipololala. Going to be the front row here. Tom Robinson and James Tucker, the locking duo. They've had a few injury troubles for the Blues in the last little while, but it does seem like this combination have got the potential of doing well in the semi-final. Akira Ioane, Dalton Pavali, and Hoskins Tutu, the loose forward trio. Then Finley Christie and Bowden Barrett start off the backs with Bryce Heem and Rico Ioane in the midfield. Caleb Clark back onto that left wing after missing last week's game due to injury. Mark Talia at 14 and Zahn Sullivan there. Close out the starting side. Here's at number 15. So those are the starting lineups. The action just around the corner. We see the Crusaders now walking out on OrangeTheory Stadium, a ground where they have 28 wins from 28 in playoff rugby. That is not an easy record to have, undefeated at home in playoff games, but this Blues side seems to be a little bit of a hunger from them at this point. They want to go on and they want to create history, not just by beating the Crusaders, but by winning Super Rugby Pacific 2023. But first, they've got 80 minutes of hard-hitting, fast-paced rugby up against what some people would call the best side in domestic rugby. Looking at this Blues side, though, I'm looking through at some of their players, and there's a couple important ones in there. The locking duo, Scott Barrett for the Crusaders up against Tom Robinson of the Blues. Whitelock, Blackadder, Grace Reese, and Moody injured. Says Nate, Crusaders lose forwards, Blues will target that area. And that's the thing. We know that Christie's going to make tackles all day, but it's whether or not they can then create that offload opportunity to go on the outside or the inside. They get the ball to Mark Talia. That is normally when the danger starts, and normally when the play finishes, because he's over the try line, claiming his 5 points. The last 2 times that these two sides have played, the Crusaders were victorious in both. 28 points to 14 and 15 points to 3. Rico Ioane, first try, 15 minutes, first half. Says Bodomic and Bowden must not just not scramble the Blues backline. Take it to the line or give it to Bryce. Says Farid. And that is something that the Blues will have to be cautious of. If they kick this ball away to the Crusaders, they are more than likely to run it straight back. Yeah, 100th match, though, for Rico Ioane. Big congratulations to him. I'm sure he would have loved for it to be a home game at Eden Park, but on the away turf, he gets over the line. It will mean that little tiny bit more. They're just showing Mark Talia there. 12 games, 12 tries, meters gained, over 1 kilometre of running meters, and 79 defenders beaten. Brumbies win scripted final versus the Blues, says Gematria 666. I think that's the first time I've heard someone this year say that Super Rugby scripted. So I feel like fair play. You've waited till the semi-finals to start, I guess, the shenanigans. And hi, Seth Pops Edits. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Angus Garner in charge of this one with Ben O'Keefe and James Dolman as his assistant referees. Brett Cronin on TMO duties. And Marlo Hamish, tuning in from South Korea, says, Image, the teams are in a huddle. We are now ready to go for the Super Rugby Pacific 2023 final. All time between these two sides. Christchurch. Crusaders have won 17. The Blues have won 14. The Blues have only had one victory in Christchurch since 2014. So it's been quite a while, but it wasn't in a playoff game. But now we are about to witness the Super Rugby Pacific semi-final. It will be kicked off by the Blues and Beauden Barrett to get us underway down towards the 22, nicely taken by Scott Barrett, one of the more enforcing players out there on the field for the Crusaders, going to be bringing the physicality early, which is exactly how this match actually started the last time they played when it was 15 points to 3. Both sides put it in their big shots early. Caleb Clark taking that nice one after the up and under. Now the Blues, they are in position and have a little bit of territory going in their favour. 35 metres out from the Crusaders line. Christie fires it off to the right-hand side where the loose head prop Tuanga Fussy was waiting for his first carry of the match. Beauden Barrett, short ball to Big Red. Tom Robinson taken down low in the tackle by Jack Goodhue. Now off to the left. Finley Christie sees a space. Rieko Ioane knocks the ball on. It's gone backwards from Cody Taylor, so they say play on, and Dallas McLeod kicks the ball downfield, so that will be a Barnage over. Sits up now for the dangerous Mark Talia. No, it doesn't. It keeps on curling, and it's a 50-22 for the Crusaders. And that is a brilliant way to start the match, to put the pressure on early for this Blues outfit. But Rieko in his 100th game, the ball was just juggling. He did have Scott Barrett and Kristen Leo Willie lining him up, so that certainly would have been not the lightest challenge that you're going to receive throughout the match. But now Cody Taylor throws the ball in, nicely taken by Quinton Strange, and the rolling ball starts now for the Crusaders. They go off to the left-hand side to Jack Goodhue, taken down by Ricky Riccatelli, 10 metres out from the line. Now Drummond goes to the short side here. Sione Havili Talatui gets within 5 metres. Ball still available for the Crusaders. Christie tries to play at his opposite number. Drummond. Hey, Hamish says, Hayden, welcome in, mate. You are doing well. Big run there from Lester Whainaunuku. A specialty of his is going for that pick and go just round the side of the breakdown. Now Tamaiti Williams goes off to Sione Havili Talatui. They are under penalty advantage now as well for the home side. Drummond looks to go left. Here comes Richie Mo'unga. Skip pass out to Braden Enoa. Goes on the inside. And Enoa scores the first try of this match. It has taken 2 minutes, but the Crusaders have got off to a brilliant start in the Super Rugby semi-final. Let's go. The Crusaders, says Grip. And also try, says Just Carl. And it's Braden Enoa, his third of the season, getting himself over the try line. And that has caught the Blues a little bit off guard. That was all from the drop ball of Rieko Ioane, 60 metres up the field. And then they just kept on applying more and more and more pressure. And then Braden Enoa, Zahn Sullivan had to run on the outside to try and cover the number 11 option. Left the gap. And they go in for the try. Go the Crusaders, says Hayden. And they're only 30 seconds behind. I believe so, because I'm on Sky Sport now. And they're normally pretty slow. No offense to Sky Sport now, of course. But yeah, they are normally a little bit behind. So about 30 seconds or so, due to it being through their app rather than through TV. Richie Mo'unga now lining up this kick. 3 minutes down. Mo'unga already having himself a try assist. Manages to get that pass off to Braden Enoa when he did strike first. Deep breath being taken here by Richie. And it's got the 3 extra points for the the 2 extra points for the Crusaders, I should say. 7 points to 0 now after the early flourish from the men in red and black. But anyone who is new to the channel, I should mention, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be back for the final and also the other semi-final that is taking place tomorrow. And it's going to be an exciting game between the Brumbies and the Chiefs. Now the Crusaders back in position, about 35 metres out from their line. Richie Mo'unga kicks it downfield, looking for that territory, goes to Zahn Sullivan. Now Barrett Looking to run it back with the wide cutout pass out to Bryce Heem, who's got himself a little bit of space down this right wing side. Great tackle made by Braden Enor, forces his foot into touch. And that will now be a line out in favour of the Crusaders, who definitely have come to play for this matchup. You don't get a 28-28 record at home in playoff rugby without getting yourself a try or two. I'm going to move my microphone over to this side. Here we go. Now we're kind of looking more in the direction. If anyone's wondering, I've got it on this screen rather than this one, which I would normally have it on, but we have switched it up a little bit. Bryce Heem, no, it was Dalton Pavali actually in that breakdown trying to get that steal. Now on the halfway line for the Crusaders, asking for the penalty advantage. They don't receive it from Angus Gardner. Looking for the offload there was Richie Moonga. The ball's gone back and it's a knock-on advantage now against the Crusaders. Bryce Heem picks it up and the Blues now in position 30 metres out from the Saders line. That's a knock-on from not Rico this time. It's his bro, Akira Ioane, does drop the ball as well. They were playing penalty advantage, so they will go back for the Blues scrum. Crusaders, they're trying to apply pressure early. Risky offload attempted by Richie Moonga. Not sure if that ball travelled forward off the drop for Braden Enor. Scrum feed now for the Blues. They have got a physical forward back, a very large side. Tamaiti Williams kind of evens out a contest, though. I was going to say they'll probably have about a 20 kg advantage. Will Brandon and the Crusaders make it for the All Blacks? I assume that's Braden, as in Braden Enor. I mean, I think he's got a decent chance in the midfield. Definitely if the likes of a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck isn't really in contention. Got a couple injuries around that department as well. So I feel like Braden Enor, he's had a much better Super Rugby season this year than last. And in fact, the Crusaders have a 3 kg advantage. Must have had a big breakfast. Now, scrum feed for the Blues. Finley Christie feeds it in and it is available to go to the left-hand side with Bryce Heem. Little looping around play there. Forward pass from Zahn Sullivan and goes straight into touch. His name, Tamati, says it just goes. So, yeah, it's Tamaiti for Tamaiti Williams. Unlike the Brumbies number 12, who's Tamati Tua. So when those two sides are playing off, it can get a bit confusing. No World Cup for you, Rico. I mean, Sunday selection says Nazi Williams. Nicely taken by Quinton Strange. Now the Crusaders looking to get it back to Moonga. We'll kick it back down the middle of the park. Nicely taken by Bowden Barrett, who was waiting for it inside of the Blues 22. Plenty of time to be able to get distance on it, and it is a fantastic kick. Moonga takes it quickly, goes across now to Will Jordan, who had a bit of space, but he's run straight into his opposite number, Zahn Sullivan. They have him lined up nice and early there. Ball available for Ollie Jaeger. Kicked him behind for Richie Moonga. Found a bit of open space. Tom Robinson tries to glide up and get that one, but it is cleaned up by Scott Barrett. Out to the left, Drummond goes across to Richie Moonga. Nicely claimed by Gucci, Sione Havili Talatui. In fact, it's going to be Christian Leo Willie with this one. Now Drummond back to the right. The Crusaders having more of the possession in the early stages of this fixture. And now they've got another penalty advantage. Listafai and Arnuku went for the little kick in behind, but they will go back now for the penalty. So I believe that they will take on the 3 here, if I'm not wrong. And go the Saders go, says Davida, and that's Afrikaans, Hamish, so his name is Tomato. I mean, it matches the kit, I guess, for Tamaiti Williams. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much of an impact the scrum has in this game, because the last time that these two sides played, yeah, quite a few scrums, quite a few lineouts as well, although today seems like it's relatively even. The early stages, just a couple early handling errors from the Blues has been costing them a little bit. I think Robinson will use Jordan as a wing or fullback in the ABs. I feel like he'll stick with them at fullback, mainly because that is the role that he does play for his Crusader side. So I don't think he'll try and mix it up too much. I know that Scott Robinson likes to try a couple things, but I don't think he's the type of guy to change a guy's position completely to put him in his international team. You know? We're not going to see Richie Moonga all of a sudden transition to a 13 or anything like that. That's what I'm talking about. Go the Saders, says Heather. Now Richie Moonga lining up the 3 points here. Give themselves just that little bit more of a lead. And it's just snuck in the right hand upright. That will now make the score, once I get my mouse moving, that will now make the score 10 points to 0 in favour of the Crusaders. The kick is good, 10-0. Says just go and got distracted. Who scored, please? So the try scorer was Braden Enor for the Crusaders. It was the passing out wide to the left-hand side. Moonga with the assist. And then if they really wanted to, they could have gone to the man on the outside. Please miss, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Unfortunately, they did get it over for yourself. Tell you what, this angle shows perfectly the part of here that does not behave, doesn't it? Sticking straight up at the back. It's like I've got one of those glorified mullets. Going to get downfield from Richie Moonga. Speaking of mullets, Zahn Sullivan's got a bit of a free flow on one. Moving up to the halfway line now. Tackled well by Sione Havili Talatui. Christie looks to shift this one right. Big man Nepo Lulala tackled on the halfway line. Christie waiting for this ball, asking for the penalty to the ref. That is always a bit of an annoyance I have with Christie. That's a full pass from Mark Delia. Now kick downfield from Lester Fainanuku. Bowden Barrett across the cover and does end up getting pushed into touch. Brilliant work again from the Crusaders. Yeah, Finley Christie, I'm curious to know if he does get himself the selection in the AB side on Sunday, because he's one of those halfbacks who spend more time looking at the ref than he does looking in the breakdown. It's a good bit of covering from Bowden Barrett to get there, because they did have Goodhue and also Lester Fainanuku running along. Cover that one. They've gone to the back nicely, taken by Quinton Strange. Now Tom Christie waits for the loop around from Taylor. Goes to Drummond now, short ball to Sione Havili Talatui. Now Drummond goes off to Tom Christie. We don't really see a huge amount of his running game normally, but does get half a crack there. Speaking of running, here's Tamaiti Williams, the big man, taken down by the Ioannis, we can say. Now Quinton Strange again. And the ball up, trying to seal that one off. That was very close to the penalty one by James Tucker. Now short ball from Sione Havili Talatui. Fainanuku goes over the top of him. Now looking to use this one right. Goes off to Cody Taylor. Not a lot of momentum going forward there. Had a slight stutter in his run, but they are up to 7 phases now for the Crusaders. Moonga goes across to Quinton Strange. No penalty advantage as of yet here for the Crusaders. Now to Mighty Williams, back to Moonga. Here comes Will Jordan. He's straight through, pass on the outside. And Lester Fainanuku will get himself his first try of the contest. Maybe not the last either, the way he's been going. And the Crusaders take a 15-0 lead now. Crusaders within 25 points to 24. Hi, Hamish says, Kevin, welcome in, mate. You are doing well. And point score says, Just Carl Blues will win, says Save Siru. And also this Blues team doesn't look like they know how to play footy, and Christie isn't an All Black, I'm afraid. Says, but the thing is, if he had more of a running game, I'd say he's 100% in there. But because he's just a tackling machine, I feel like they always look for someone who's got that jackling option as well, which is why, you know, it's tricky to say if Harmon or Christie, either of them will get the chance. And bro, talk about sealing if this ref. Yeah, I thought that was very unlucky for James Tucker to miss out on the penalty in that breakdown, because, yeah, the guy came in through the side and pretty much just lay on it. Kind of reminded me of Rugby 08. You know, they've got the animation of the guy just pretty much jumps over the breakdown, lies on the opposition side. Will Jordan is lethal, says Geza in there. And 17-0, 12 points in the game. I like a cricket score on a plate. There's Marl in there. And Crusaders are unstoppable, says a wayward wing. And I wish to say that Elton Yankees got called up for the Springboks. I did. Is the dietitian still there? Or is she gone to a different side? Or else then, you know, that's always... There's a bit too much fun on tour. That kick is bending. It's hit the post from Richie Moonga and come back out. So that will be 15 points to 0 for the Crusaders after the first 12 and a half minutes. As Aaron Smith will be included in the ABs, I believe he will be. Look at the pace. Will Jordan just glides. I always say it. It doesn't look like he tries to run fast. Like for me, I try and run fast and I'm like 6Ks. But he tries to run slow and he runs fast. Just absolutely brilliant from Will Jordan. Returning, and yep, she's still there, says Luke. Well, at least Elton's got something to do if he's not playing. If anyone's wondering, you might hear some voices in the background. That is my parents. They are also watching the game on the same screen. So I heard my mum go, oi, when I said that one about the dietitian. Only speaking straight facts, though, of course. We have evidence to back it. Christie goes off to Barrett. Oh, big run from the ginger. Tom Robinson. You're allowed to say that because his nickname's Big Red. Now back to the left-hand side. Zahn Sullivan, wide cut out pass there. Here comes Caleb Clark down the wing. Steps straight into Dallas McLeod. Helps assist him in making the tackle. Ball almost stolen by Barrett. It's given away the penalty advantage though. And now the Blues do end up with the penalty inside of Crusaders territory here. And also your width seems to be more effective than the Blues right now, says sir. Thank you very much. I think there's a compliment, although the Blues have not been good in the first little bit. So maybe a double-sided one. Rico killed it, says Blues Nate. And time for a quiz, Hamish. This game is done and dusted. Says, oh, I don't know about that. We're 14 minutes in. They're looking for the corner now. Give me an H, give me an A, give me an M. Ham, Hamish would be too much, says Gareth. Yeah, it would take a while, wouldn't it? Get through the 6 letters. It's a nice wide pass. It was a big shot from Dallas McLeod. He was right place, right time to make that tackle. And then they've said that Dallas McLeod was not able to roll away in time. And also, this will be a massive if the Blues pull off an upset, says Novmum. It would be. And definitely because now they find themselves 15-0 down. So it's pretty tough, although the penalty, knock-on advantage now in favour of the Crusaders. It is now over. Leicester Whananoku ball on the outside to Richie Mo'unga, who is tackled by Rico Ioane. Oh, yep, that will be the penalty for the Blues this time. In through the side, number 7, Tom Christie penalised. JK going to be sad, says Gareth. Although it's nice to see that the Blues are now starting to find their feet. And that's actually the same as what we saw in their game up against the Waratahs. I think the big difference was the Waratahs weren't clinical like the Crusaders are being in this contest, because it took the Blues 15 minutes to realise they were playing. And then from there, they started playing very well for the other 65. It's just the fact that it takes them a bit to find their momentum. But now that they've perhaps started to find it, they might still look like they're slowly improving throughout the match. Guess it's good to see you here, mate. And also, is this a repeat of last season's Super Rugby final? I hope not. I hope that they are able to at least make it close. Because that Fijian draw game versus the Crusaders, I think a lot of people knew that the Crusaders, after losing, they were going to be angry and ready to go in that contest. But this game, it's 2 games after losing to the Hurricanes. So they should be calming down a little bit. Oh, that's a drop ball again from the Blues, unfortunately. That time, Nepo Lulala puts it down, and straight away the Crusaders look to capitalise. Ball on the outside to Dallas McLeod with the nice hands. Tries to step on the inside of Rico Ioane, but he is taken down by the centre combo for the Blues. Drummond still inside of the 22. Love to see Hamish steal Elton's new girl. Wait, is that the dietitian or the... I know that earlier on you said I should try and date the dietitian. Dietitians, they're very handy, aren't they? Wait, that's the wrong use of words. So we won't go there. Because they're smart. And keep supporting. Says Blues Nate, and Blues says Bestley. That's a penalty to the Crusaders. That was silly. Unfortunately for Nepo Lulala, straight in through the side. And the Crusaders, the momentum just hurting them big time. And Chiefs played yet. I called them champs in the first game, and I'm definitely going to claim it, says Gareth. And Blues don't know how to hold on to the ball, says Daddy Fat Sacks. There's no real name I can shorten yours to that's not bad. It's the whole one, is it? And FFS says Captain Bunny, yeah. Lulala's joining that one from the Crusaders side of the ruck. Maybe wants to transfer next year. Be an option. The Crusaders have had a lot of propping injuries throughout this season. They have lost the likes of Bauer. They've lost Moody, Fletcher Null. Now thrown in nicely over the top, though. Ricky Riccatelli puts in the big yards, but Scott Barrett gets to it first. Now McLeod tackled by Papali. They are 10 metres out from the line again now for the Crusaders, and they are looking for their third of the match. Drummond with the skip pass out to Quinton Strange, tackled by Bryce Heem. Can already tell he's going to have a very busy game throughout the early stages. Ollie Jaeger once again tackle well. The Crusaders off to the right. Nice looping pass. That will be the penalty. Unfortunately, Tom Christie ends up in the wrong place, wrong time. And Will Jordan runs into the back of him. Blues penalty, says Jonathan Manson, I should say. I would like to see the winners of Super Rugby play the European Champions Cup winners. That'd be good, says Geza. Because they did talk about a Club World Cup a while, didn't they? But then that kind of got disappeared almost instantly, which is a shame because, I mean, everyone wants to see... I mean, imagine Munster versus the winner of Super Rugby. I was about to say Munster versus Crusaders, but we didn't want to jump to any conclusions. So that would have been a bad example. But yeah, Munster versus anyone. The South African side, imagine how good. Bringing back like a Stormers versus Crusaders, Blues versus Bulls, Sharks versus Hurricanes or something like that, having like a one-off round where New Zealand sides play South African teams again. It would cost a lot of money to do, but I think it would make a lot of money in return. Richie Mo'unga now kicking that one. That didn't look like it went where he wanted it to, but it's starting to curl towards the sideline. Oh, Bowden Barrett gets his feet stuck in the turf, passes across to Zahn Sullivan. Now he has been trapped there. 2 Crusaders players in the breakdown. They win another penalty. Taylor Takiaho Riccatelli says far. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one because Dane Coles, I don't know whether or not they're looking at him as an All Black option this year. I think he's almost a little bit past it. His line out throw is the one thing that saves him, though, because as much of a annoyance as he can be on the field, he still throws lineouts pretty much 95%. Whereas Asafa Amoa, throughout the season, he's thrown it at about 15. So I don't think he's in there. Talkiaho and Taylor, I think, are two definitely confirmed. It's just that question of who is going to be that third hooker. They have got Riccatelli as a possibility. Who else have we got? Brody McAllister, the youngster for the Crusaders. Another option. Looks like Moonga is going to be taking on the 3 points here once again. And I was like, Crusaders taking the 3. I think it's the right decision. Yeah, this will get them out to an 18-point lead. Looking at the way that the TAB is sitting at the moment, the Blues are now $11 underdogs. Well, I think that lagged. Anytime I go onto that screen, it like changes big time. You blokes got greedy, called your bluff, Hamish. We all wish to see that again. Sharks versus Chiefs was always good. There's Gareth there. Now, lining up this kick, Richie Moonga. Yep. He likes that right-hand post today. That one went very close. That man butchered the catch. That kind of looks like old bloody Graham Henry. It wasn't. Could have been his brother, though. I like Cody Taylor, says captain. I think Cody Taylor's always going to give you at least an 80% performance, which is very handy. Who's better, South African Marks or All Blacks Taylor? Says Luke. Probably depends on where you're from a little bit. And depends on the game situation. Malcolm Marks, I think, is always brilliant when his side's under pressure. And then he kind of goes into free-flow mode once they're winning easily type thing. But in a close game, Malcolm Marks can be very handy. But it's kind of like comparing tomatoes to potatoes. There's a little bit of a difference. Just a little bit. It's a good kick downfield from Zahn Sullivan. I think Marks says Waywind, and also Taylor, in my opinion, says far. And also we have got the SUPH just logged in. Been cleaning around the house. What's been happening? Who scored, says Wonga. So at the moment, we've seen 2 Crusaders tries. One from Braden Enoy and the second from Lester Whaiananuku. Now it is going to be a line-out throw for the Crusaders, 45 metres out from their line. That one curled quite nicely for Cody Taylor, straight into the hands of Nepo Lulala for the Blues. Now Christie goes back across to the right-hand side. Ricky Riccatelli. I mean, he's certainly a chance to make the ABs. Now Bowden Barrett tackled hard by Quinton Strange. And also we have got the Malcolm Marks is almost superhuman in some games. Here's Waywind. Now, they have been told to leave it. Cody Taylor has managed to just roll out of the way of that one. Stop kicking the ball away, says Daddy Fat Sacks. And that is something that the Chiefs, I don't think they can afford to do what they did up against the Reds in their last game, because they did give that ball away a little bit. And it's the same with the Blues. In the early stages of the last contest up against the Waratahs, they were willing to let the Tars run with it. But the unfortunate downside of that was the more pressure. That looks like an awkward breakdown. It's like a game of Twister, but no one knows where the colours are. Everyone's just kind of got their feet in their hands wherever they can find them. Now up to the halfway line. Oskin Satutu, he has managed to claim this ball for the Blues. Bowden Barrett thought for a second he was considering a cross kick, but it looks like Rieko Ioane now having the carry. Didn't want to pass it to his brother. Now back across to the left. Bowden Barrett, short hands to Caleb Clark, and now they've got a bit of space opening up. But Drummond, he knew exactly what he needed to do. Richie Moonga tried to get the ball, getting up almost with his hands on the ground. Amir Lamu, excuse spelling, says Gareth. And Mark says Taylor, Yavels and Oranges, but Taylor says Grant. Oh, sorry, that was Gareth. That ball's gone. Oh, great take from Papali'i, but it's knocked on. If he found the offload to Mark Talia, perhaps he could have been overtaken Howlett for the most tries scored in an individual season. Now Sullivan goes across to Bowden Barrett on the halfway line. Now 17 minutes remaining. And Zahn Sullivan, Waikato pass by Nanuku off his wing. Thought that Papali'i was a little bit slower than he was there. He thought he'd be able to catch him easily. Wasn't quite the case. The ball is loose, but the Blues managed to clean it up now. Bowden Barrett tries to pierce the line, 25 metres out now. This is the most phases that the Blues have been able to put together in this contest without dropping the ball. Oh, but Barrett almost ending up with the turnover there. For the Crusaders, that's got to be a penalty for not rolling away. I'd say he's just kind of ended up in there on all fours. Now Christie goes across to Bowden Barrett, short ball to Ofa Tuanga Fasi. Hard by his opposite in the scrum, Ollie Jaeger. No advantage, I believe, has formed for the for the Blues here. Short ball. The Nepo Lulala drops the ball again. JK going to say Papa E. And guess it's early days yet Don't know how long the Crusaders can sustain this pace, Hamish, says William. The benefit of the Crusaders is normally they do have this pace for a majority of the contest. They normally slow down a little bit in the first 20 minutes of the second half during the 40 to 60, and then they do go back on with the speed running of the game. But that's going to be a 3-point attempted now for the Blues. Why would you take the 3 when down 18? I think it's just to get some points on the board, just so that you feel like you haven't walked away from this half empty-handed. And, yeah, just to, I guess, get the flow of the game. If he misses this kick from 22 metres out, Beauden Barrett, that would be a massive one. Crusaders will smash them like guitars. There's Wayne. You hear swearing in the background. It's my dad. 15 minutes remaining. At the moment, 81% accuracy for Beauden Barrett. You got this, Blues, for us. Nothing going your way. Take the points and take the 3 points, says Marlon there. So, yeah, it's just a little bit of a reprieve, I guess I should say. That kick's gone over. Now I'm making the score 18 points to 3. They are on the board for the first time in this contest. And just with that, they go down to $7.50 underdogs. So there's still a chance. What the TAB is saying. I actually got my orientation details for TAF today. My enrollment finalised. I remember doing orientation on school camps. I can't quite remember what it was, but I think you get a compass, don't you? And they send you around a track. You got to find stuff. That's orienteering, I've just heard, rather than orientation. I did well in school, as you can tell. That's why I do YouTube. Charge down, and it's just going to go dead for the Crusaders. I believe that's going to become a goal line dropout now, or a 22 dropout instead. World Player of the Year for 2023. Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? Because there's been some good stand-up players that we've seen. I mean, one who comes to mind straight away is Dion Forêt, but I don't think he'd get it because they normally go with a more well-known player, don't they? Unfortunately for him. And 3 does look better than 0. That is true. Looks like they've started the comeback, doesn't it? Go Crusaders, go. Cesar Aparama now on the halfway line. The Crusaders with the ball again. Already the score is actually higher than the last time these two sides played off. The end score in that game was 15 points to 3 in favour of the Crusaders. Will Jordan running onto that one nicely. Nepolalala tries to join the breakdown. Is taken down by Christian Leo Willie. Now moving up to 30 metres out from the line. Oh, was that a knock on from Drummond, or did he just have a bit of a fumble with the ball? Might have gone backwards. Now Drummond again going to the right. Skip past to no one, although it's found Will Jordan, which isn't exactly a bad player for the ball to find. And best wait until after the World Cup to decide player of the year. Yeah, that's true. There could be a match-winning or a World Cup-winning player just around the corner that we don't know about yet. Now back to the right. Now Lester Whaiananuku runs it hard at Big Red. Tom Robinson gets those leg driving. Almost becomes a maul there. Now 40 metres out. They've got numbers there, but Mo'unga sells the dummy. He's still running Mo'unga. Bashes over Barrett. He says, that 10 jersey's mine. Ian Foster's going to pick me. Now wide cut-out pass from Drummond to Dallas McLeod. Tackled by Zahn Sullivan, but they are getting very close to the line now. Big shot coming in on Scott Barrett by Akira Ioane using that leg strength. 10 phases in a row now for the Crusaders, and it's big time. Mighty Williams does hit it up now. Back across, bounce past the Sione Havili Talatui. Sikutsi has set the point. The point is right up there, definitely, for an option for player of the year. Now, nice step around the side from Drummond. You don't often see him going with the pick and go, but now off to the right, Scott Barrett drives nicely. That's in through the side. Or was he in the gate? I think it's a good turnover from Papali'i. You're allowed to come in through the back. I think he came in almost through the back gate. Now wide cut out pass from Beauden Barrett. Now Mark Dallaire doesn't get through that tackle from Jack Goodhue. Brilliant take there. I'm no hype man, but DeBon is really that good, says Gareth. And also favourite player for the Blues is Rieko Ioane, says go Kai, and try not to kill each other before the World Cup, says Geza. Yeah, that is true. Right, we're going to get to see this replay again for Papali'i. See if he came in right through the back until he stand out on the Blues. Yeah, he's been phenomenal. 12 tries so far throughout 12 games. Mine's Caleb Clark says Captain Money for his favourite Blues player. Seen 100% of the tackles made so far from Dalton Papali'i. He's made 5 from 5 throughout the Super Rugby Pacific semi-final. They will now kick that one for touch and relieve once again quite a bit of pressure that they have been put under. Right. Papali'i We're going to get to see here. He travels a fair distance to get to the right breakdown. We didn't see that breakdown that I questioned. All right. We'll watch it later. It's going to be taken nicely by Hoskins to Tutu. Back now to Papali, cross to Christie. Barrett goes to Zahn Sullivan, who has got a mammoth left boot. He does try and get down the middle of the field. It's nicely taken by Richie Moonga, who has got Jordan with him, decides against using him, gets crunched in the tackle by Ricky Riccatelli. Now, Tamaiti Williams runs onto that one nicely. And tell you what, when a big man like that moves the way that he does, it is scary. He ran onto that like he was in the centre. Speaking of centres, here comes Jack Goodhue. Sometimes runs like he is a prop since coming back from his injury, unfortunately. Now Drummond going off to the left-hand side to Will Jordan. Nice step there from Sione Havili Talatui. Neither of these sides known for missing a huge amount of tackles, so you've got to make sure you're hitting the line hard and trying to create that offload opportunity. Brilliant run there from Ollie Jaeger. Now, Will Jordan doing nicely. And that ball up, Bryce team trying to make himself a bit of a nuisance in the breakdown. Now Goodhue looks for the kick behind. Lester Whainarauku chasing. No, the ball always landed hard on the back of it. But just ends up going into touch. I'd like to think that Finley Christie would have had it covered also. Do your parents listen to your commentary and mute the TV, says Andy. At this stage, they have no choice for this game anyway. They're both sitting just off to the side here on a couple of chairs, and then I've got it on this monitor. Mainly because Sky Sport now, they don't let you watch from more than one device, which is a big shame. Because, the way that he landed on that Whainarauku, I don't know whether or not landing on the ball would be comfier than landing on the ground. Because I guess you've got less surface area of the ball, don't you? So it's kind of like an awkward bump in your back. The Crusaders will win this year again. Says Lycinia. And hey, says Hayden, welcome in. And man, I believe the Chiefs will win this title. Got their big game up against the Brumbies tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting one. We've got a preview of that game actually coming out just after this game is finished, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Drummond goes back into the pocket now to Richie Moonga, who puts the ball high. Waiting for this one to come down. Nicely taken by Caleb Clark there on the halfway line. Only a second touch of the day, so Tutu goes with the pick and go. Tackled by Jaeger. They've still got 9 minutes remaining in the first half. The Crusaders to try and get back into the contest. Now, nice step from Papa Lee. Little bit of a slip there from the Crusaders. Finley Christie, though. Oh, sorry, it was Tom Christie. Is he giving away the advantage there? Was that a little arm from Angus Gardner, or was he just stretching? I think it might have just been a stretch. Now, Bowden Barrett looking for that next pass. Goes to Mark Talia. Great low tackle made from Tom Christie. You cannot afford to miss a tackle on Talia, or else you're in a lot of trouble. Now, Barrett passes back. It's loose. No one able to jump on that one other than Hoskins or Tutu, but the Blues in the process do lose maybe about 15 metres or so off to the left-hand side. Zahn Sullivan goes to Bryce Heem now. Has got Caleb Clark with him and does decide to use him, who has to hurdle over his teammate to be able to get his run started. Christie, good flat ball to James Tucker, ex-Highlanders man. Starting at 5 for this contest due to injuries of Sam Derry and Tui Palotu. Tuanga Fussy thought about the pass. You can't afford to try and offload that when he didn't. They almost end up giving up the ball, but luckily for them, or does it? Who's got it? It's the Crusaders actually who end up with that ball. That was just silly from Tuanga Fussy, thinking that there was an offload available. Kicked him behind now from Richie Moonga, looking for the 50-22. Bowden Barrett takes it from inside of his own 22 area and looks like he's going to try and run this one back. Haven't seen too many up and unders throughout this game. Mark Talia finds the offload away to Dalton Papali'i. Now 45 metres out from their own line here. The Blues. Barrett goes to the left to Tuanga Fussy, who did hang on to that ball this time. And my guy says football. Welcome in, mate. Kiriwani moves up to the halfway line. This is phase after phase, and the Crusaders get themselves the penalty. And that hurts the momentum. You may have heard that. That was my dad. He's a Crusaders. No. And 500 of you watching. Only 36 like to make the effort, says Gareth. Yeah, be sure to leave a like and subscribe anyone who is new. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are on the road to 24,500 subscribers, and we might just be able to hit it by the end of this live stream. So, yeah, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm listening from Rome, from Christchurch, says Bruce. So welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. And it can't be good for Super Rugby if the Crusaders win it again, says Fleshin. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because they've looked pretty good throughout the early stages. And whoever plays in the final, if it is the Crusaders making their way through, they need someone to really push them. And how much time left? We've still got another 47 minutes remaining. And haven't Sky Sports monopolised sports coverage in New Zealand? A little bit. And the problem is you can't watch it on your TV and your computer at the same time, which seems weird, definitely because you pay quite a bit for it. And as Donna doing the cricket says far, not sure if she's going to be staying up late for it. I know that myself and I believe Dad is locked in for the first session. Maybe. If he's not too pissed after watching this rubbish, is the comment I've just heard. So there you go. And I'm listening from South Africa, Eastern Cape, says Marrero. Welcome in. And Caleb is here as well. Welcome in, mate. Now, Cody Taylor with the lineup throw. Where's George? He is in Wanaka at the moment. He went on holiday. So he will be liking the result that is happening at the moment. Oh, is that an injury? That's actually our first injury of this game. And I have to say, fair play. 33 minutes of hard hitting rugby. And luckily, we've only walked away with a slight injury to James Tucker, listening in from Manchester up the Crusaders, or from Christchurch up the Crusaders. There's quite a few people from Christchurch living abroad, isn't there? Which is quite cool. And also masterclass in pace and pressure. Rugby by the Crusaders. Enrico Ioane says football. Now, 6.5 minutes remaining. The players just waiting for James Tucker to get all strapped up in his knee. We've seen 7 tackles missed by both of these sides and 70 tackles made. So it is absolutely identical after 33.5 minutes. The big difference, though, is one side has been able to take their chances and score those tries. That being the Crusaders. I'm all for underdogs, Blues in this case, says Marrero. And also, yeah, Rico Ioane says football. And hey, Eastern Cape boys, I'm in Port Elizabeth, sitting at work listening in, says Timmy Smith. Now the Crusaders 20 metres out from the Blues line. Here comes Mighty Williams. Did a bit of a side shuffle, then straighten. Lester Whainaunuku with that pick and go around the side of the breakdown. That is the second time he's run at Robinson, and the second time he's tried to hold him up there in the tackle. Christian Leo Willie awkwardly wrestled to the turf. Right, I'm looking at this left-hand side, and I'm seeing Richie Wong, and I believe they have seen him too. Scott Barrett, though, hits the ball up. Tackled by Akira Ioane. Tackle slightly riding up, but it is still going to be all right. Another run from Christian Leo Willie. These loose forward trio. There we go. Tom Christie. Oh, that was almost a knee getting bent the wrong way. Luckily, the player in the tackle released so that his knee could continue to bend the way it's supposed to. Now, Brady or flat ball to Jordan between the sticks. It's the third of the match for the Crusaders. Tell you what, that was a good pass. Flat, Braden Enor. I feel like if this was an audition for the ABs, he's doing pretty well. He's probably going to get that call back to the next stage. And great commentary in the chat, says Glenn. And is that number 10, Geordie Barrett? It is not. It is Bowden Barrett as the 10 for this game. But at the moment, he's hardly had a chance to do anything here, Bowden, because of the Crusaders' attack. And another one says, Blues Nader listening and watching in the car with my two boys and myself. Says it was Scott there. And is that the game? Mounting the climb for the Blues now. Yeah, they are $13 underdogs. It's not impossible, though. They're just trying to play this game like the Harlequins from the Gallagher Premiership, which is get down by 20 and then come back in the end of the game. Longer, strategic, sitting on the ball. Okay, they were going to be checking something. He saw it as an opportunity to take a little rest, which is probably fair enough. And Hamish, do you reckon a try will ever exist for the Blues? Well, that's the thing. The last time that these two sides played, they didn't score a try, the Blues. The Crusaders only got 2, but now in this game, they've already got 3. And Hamish with their Rugby Championship coming up. Just checking in, you still have the pronunciations down for Kurtley Arunsa. I think I still say it wrong. Hopefully he doesn't get selected too often. Aruns run fast. That's what I'll call him, because he does. He's out on the wing. He's a good player. Old Kurtley. And fantastic. We are in Santorini listening to you, says Sully. So we've got people all around the world, which is absolutely awesome. See, like I mentioned, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back tomorrow night with the Brumbies versus the Chiefs. And then also we got the final the week after New Zealand will win the World Cup. There's Go Kai. And there as well, but that is going to be kicked downfield. Nicely taken by Bowden Barrett. The Blues need some more points here in this first half. It was all well and good taking that 3. Nice offload on the outside from Mark Talia. Goes to Satutu. A run through. That was great work there. And the breakdown from Mighty Williams. Wins. Oh, it was actually Lester Whainaunuku who gets over it. And we will teach you how to pronounce the Safa name, says Grant. And there as well, Uncle Wana Water, Sunshine Coast, says Ed. and then off for the AB's 13. Tell you what, he's making a really good point for it. Like, they'll say Rico Ioane, due to experience, might get that jersey, but I don't know. I mean, you know what? He doesn't really play 12's the only thing. He's normally either out on the right wing. Oh, here's an idea. Who's our right wing at the moment? Well, Mark Talia's probably got it, actually. Never mind. Scrap that. No way, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Listening from Fiji, says Neelish there. Now the Crusaders once again going for this rolling maul, which has already made maybe about 15 minutes. And it's quite surprising that this is the first rolling maul that we have seen throughout this matchup. But this is just old school rugby. Yeah, getting the maul going for about 25, if not 30 meters. Blues still trying to shut it down. It's been passed off the back to Tamaiti Williams. Penalty advantage for him through the sides. And now this starts to get dangerous because the Crusaders are still marching their way forward. Papali's ended up with it. Double blow of the whistle. This is going to be a yellow card. Number 8, Hoskins Satutu, will be going to the bin now for 10 minutes, and the Crusaders in the box seat to be able to take another try before halftime. Going to sleep now. Saders already won this game, says Heather. Should mention the Ashes going to be starting up tonight. We will be covering that action from 9:50 p.m. New Zealand time. The plan is for me to stay up right till 5:30 a.m., which is when the day finishes for the cricket. So she's going to be a big weekend, but I'm looking forward to it. Sleep is overrated anyway, isn't it? And Crusaders going for the jugular. They are. They marched from 35 metres out to 5 metres out from the line for the Blues. I want to see how cynical this was from Hoskins Satutu. So it wasn't, okay, they're not going to show it either. They're really not doing well with the replays. We're not seeing too much at this point, but now the line out is one. Cody Taylor waiting for this one at the back to start marching forward. They've been told to use it once, but it starts to creep now for Cody Taylor. Got to decide the perfect time to break off the back. Mark Talia, he is waiting. It's still there for Cody Taylor. They were told to use it once, but continue to slowly move, and that's very close to being down. Oh, tell you what, the ref was given try before he even looked at that. He's now seen it now. It was grounded. I said thou. That sounded like I was from like the 19th century. But Cody Taylor gets himself the try. We've got a donation from Jonathan as well. Thank you very much. My Crusaders will all, with all the outs, still doing well. Oh, the Chiefs should win the final, says Jonathan. But this was a strong rolling maul there. Cody Taylor gets himself over the try line. This game's getting a little bit too one-sided for a lot of people's liking, I would be thinking. If that's the game, only hope now is that the Chiefs, sorry, Brumbies, but stopping the Saders is more important than Aussie progress, says Venster there. And what have the Blues been doing all week, says Kwasi. I mean, it's the thing. After their last game up against the Waratahs, they looked like they were in decent form. The worrying stage was that first 15 minutes, but then... Okay, that's very interesting. They didn't see clear, conclusive evidence the ball was down from the camera angles that they had, but because they felt, well, actually, the information is because it was on-field try, it's given as a try, even though there was no evidence that their ball was down. Now, that's quite interesting because last week, the Brumbies and the Hurricanes, because Nick Berry didn't see any conclusive evidence that their ball was down, it was called as a no try. Sleepers overrated, all right, a bit like the Blues on the performance tonight. How it up, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Do you think the Crusaders can beat the Box at Jade Stadium? Why are they playing the Box? I mean, there's a lot of Crusaders who are going to be in the All Black side, so we will get to see some of them going head-to-head in the Rugby Championship, which is just around the corner, and Blues look like the drawer tonight, says Teafo. And yeah, currently the score sitting 32 points to 3 at halftime. This is going to be a massive comeback for the Blues if they are able to get themselves back into the contest. But at the moment, it just seems like that momentum is too heavily in favour of this Crusaders side. We know that they have a perfect record at OrangeTheory Stadium, which is why it's so important for the Chiefs to beat the Brumbies, because at least in that case, you've got the Crusaders out of their own element. They just like the cold, I guess. They're kind of like penguins. No way Leon McDonald should be an All Blacks coach. Go get a team, or who gets a team to turn up to the semi-final like this, says Joss. And also, we've got a super sticker from Geza, the random reviewer. Thank you very much, mate. We will quickly see. For some reason, it comes up just as super sticker, but you got a big purple G on there. So I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated. You guys all being here. We're currently sitting on 75 likes, but that is the fist bump from that peer as well. And who scored the last try? It was scored by Cody Taylor. And Blues are dead meat Says Jake the Woe. And this could end Bodie's AB position. And it's down to the on-field decision. If the ref says try, there must be definitive evidence that the try wasn't scored. If the ref says try, there must be evidence that the try was scored. Says Vince. But yeah, the comment from the TMO was, I can't see if it's grounded, so stick with your on-field decision. Which Gardner, it was interesting because he almost gave it, but didn't. Like, he put his hand up as if he was going to give it, didn't give it, then put it back down and went, and then gave it. He had to have a second look just to make sure that it was all right, cure the ref complaints. But in reality, the Blues mentality has beaten themselves already. Says Flesh. And yeah, at the end of the day, 32 points to 3, not looking good at halftime. Unfortunately, it just seems like they haven't been in there. And those early handling errors, like we saw Rico drop the ball off a Toinga Fussy, and unfortunately, he's dropped the ball more than he's caught it in this matchup. And that always makes it tricky because he's actually touched the ball quite a bit. And also can't win the games without the ball. Hold on to the ball, please, says Daddy Fat Sacks. And Damien McKenzie, he's the best, says Go Kai. And also, we their draw was good slow, says Darman. And also, top lads, Kiwi lads, appreciate donations, says Blues Nate, certainly do. I'm going to be going all night with the Ashes as well. So it's going to be exciting. Anyone who just enjoys having a quiet, I guess, casual chat, the Ashes streams are going to be ideal because we are going to have 6 hours of cricketing action. And there's plenty of time in between the cricket, like balls being bowled between the overs, that we'll be able to just chat either rugby, cricket, anything that's going on. UFC, I'm sure that will be this weekend. I'm not too sure who's fighting. I don't actually know who won out of Nunes or Aldana. I assume Nunes because she is quite good. But then Aldana, she's a little bit of a dark horse. And meant to say if the ref says no try, then they overturn it. There must be evidence that the try was scored for the second point, says Vincent, just like it was for the Hurricanes Brumbies game. I appreciate the dedication, says Geza, and also draw much better, says Ron's there. The thing is, at least this is going to, I don't mean this in a bad way for any Blues supporters or anything like that, but at least when the drawer played last week, even when they were struggling, they looked like they were really trying to get something going. You know, the passion was still there, but for the Blues, we're yet to see them dig down deep. Like the breakdowns, we haven't really seen a huge amount of counter-rucking from the Blues, which is actually something that they did pretty well in the last game up against the Crusaders. Super Rugby is dead, bro. Says Chuck, I'm enjoying it. I like myself a competition of Super Rugby. I feel like I'd like anything, though. I'd watch a game between Uganda and Zimbabwe if it was shown here in New Zealand. And it's the different Crusaders that lost in Latoka, says Issy Kelly. And I'll say, are you watching it? I am watching it on Sky Sport 1. If you got spare coin, I could play it on the Crusaders 51 plus at $26. Jeez, is that what it's paying at the moment for the Crusaders to win by that much? I'm going to look at the odds. My TAB account balance is about 20. I hear in my mouth. I just heard someone opening the door. I thought everyone was still sitting next to me, but yeah, no, they not. Yeah, 51 plus for $21. I see that one now. That's an interesting one because at the rate they're going, it's a possibility for them, which is a little bit concerning. And I'd like to think that the Blues in the second half, they've got to stand up in this game. They can't be allowing those easy tries that the Crusaders have been able to get for themselves. This looks like the John Jones Cyril Hahn fight. A whole lot of talk, then utter domination. Yeah, that fight was disappointing. Well, it wasn't if you're a John Jones supporter, but everyone was like, Cyril Gahn, he's going to be the guy that takes down John Jones. And then he didn't do anything, Believe it or not, I've been to the shops already, so I don't miss the cricket. Strategic. You got to do it that way. Get in all of the early stuff. That's the thing. I've already been fishing today. I went before the Super Rugby so that I didn't end up having an overlap. I literally stopped watching this game, says Kawasi, and Panthers and Cowboys at 10, says Daddy Fat Sacks. So we won't be covering that one mainly because we are covering the Ashes when it does come around. Their dominance isn't that impressive when you are beating garbage like the Blues, says Chuck there. By any chance, are you a Blues supporter, Chuck? And also, that's too much score for the Crusaders already, says Joseph. Yeah, what'd you catch? Absolutely nothing, unfortunately. We saw fish. Well, we saw a seal eating a fish. So he caught it, but yeah, no, we weren't catching anything. The only thing we were catching was a cold, I'd say. It wasn't very warm down there. Looking at some of the stats, tackles missed, 8 tackles for both sides, 89 made by the Blues compared to the 72 that is made by the Crusaders. Got a super sticker from Kawasi as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. That super sticker, it's about to come through. It has got no in there. So everyone who sees that, they should do the opposite, of course, and leave a like on this live stream. Usually appreciate you guys all being here. We're currently sitting on 78. You know what? We're going to set a target, 100 by the start of the second half. I think we'll get there relatively easy. Anyone who is new, hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 24.5 subscribers. Or sorry, 24,500 subscribers. We are currently 21 away from that as well. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's hugely appreciated. Bring Auntie Yes, says Daddy Fat Sack. And nope, I'm not a Blues fan. Seth Kawasi and Blues can't even get over the game line, says Chuck there. I think that is something that they're definitely going to need to improve. Is those, like, we saw a great run from James Tucker. He was charging at the line, managed to make a few extra post-contact meters. Other than that, we really haven't seen too many players making those post-contact meters. Dalton Papali'i had a good run. Kiriwani, I don't know if we've seen him with the ball in hand as of yet. I know that he was on the outside of Rico, but we knew Rico wouldn't pass. So kind of counts, but doesn't. And draw much better. Go the Crusaders go. The Blues are bad, says Chuck. And the Crusaders still have it. The number of injuries to important players shows the depth and attitude of the team. They are doing even better than I expected. A West Coaster, but a Crusaders fan, says Kevin. Irish is great. To have you go on live game. Very cool. Says Hayden there. Do appreciate that a lot. Blue Fa'amalosi, my means. Come on, man. Says Ta'afel. And speaking of Fa'amalosi, the Samoan side must not be too far away from being announced for their upcoming games. We will be doing a video on that. The Fijians have already announced their side. Some great players in there. I'm sure Samoa are going to be the same when they do get announced. What are you doing next, says Connor? The next one that we have got, it is going to be taking place at 9:50 p.m. New Zealand time, and that is a game between England and Australia for the cricket, the Ashes. We are going to be covering hopefully the whole day right through to about 6:30 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. I think it ends up finishing. And Hemus had a shocker, bring Lamb in. And speaking of bringing players in, we will look through at the benches. I know that they've got Peter Feta as the option and also Harry Plummer. So they may end up having a little bit of a reshuffle perhaps. Maybe I would say Plummer will go to 12. He will go off if that is the change that they make. And then Peter Feta, I think, may go on for Sullivan. That's the way that they want to go with it. But yeah, I'm disappointed to only see one big run from James Tucker because it was a good run and they just need to get him the ball a little bit more. I would say the Crusaders, they've got some great players off their bench, but I don't know whether or not they will make any changes early. I guess for them now, they could consider it. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you've got players fresh for next week's final if they do go through. Go the Brumby, says Michael Gray. And also, good evening, Hamish, says David the Mole. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. We need South African teams back in Super Rugby also, says Chuck. I assume that there was something underneath not liking the Blues and saying that Super Rugby was dead. It was because you missed the South African sides, which is fair enough. I mean, the thing is, though, a lot of the South African sides, I think that they prefer playing in the Northern Hemisphere, except it's just the fact that sometimes the schedule's a bit much. I know that a few of the players were saying about playing in the Champions Cup and playing in the URC was quite challenging with the squad depth that they had. Nunes won that one. Nice. To be fair, relatively expected. Was it a quick finish, Fleshin, or was she slightly later? Oh, smashed her and retired. Okay. Well, that doesn't really help anyone, though, does it? Because all you've done now is pretty much killed off the division. Now you got to try and find more people. It's like Cejudo. He was champ, Triple C, as he liked to call himself. And then he was like, yeah, no, I'm done. Khabib, another one. I guess going out on the top is one thing, though, that a lot of fighters want the opportunity to do, but not many get to. Hamish, who has home game next week, says Hayden. So if the Crusaders win this game and the Brumbies win their game, it will be a Crusaders home final at OrangeTheory Stadium. Whereas if the Crusaders win this game and the Chiefs win their game, it will be an FMG Stadium final up in Waikato. Is the top 14 final tomorrow night? And is it on TV? It is not being shown here in New Zealand, sadly, which is a big shame. But yeah, it's just around the corner. La Rochelle taking on Toulouse. Pretty decent matchup when it does take place. Should mention we are 9 away from the 100 likes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really bad at remembering to say leave a like and subscribe. I should probably say it a little bit more throughout the live streams. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you're enjoying. We've got the Brumbies game up against the old mates, the Chiefs, next day, which is also known as tomorrow. And thanks so much, says Hayden. Top 14 on Sunday morning, says Chuck there. And also put that red and black pack in black, says Michael Gray. And will the injured Crusaders All Blacks come back for the final? Probably not some of them. I believe that they will be out for a little bit longer. I think the Crusaders are going to win, says Isaac. Oh, Isaac, this is a question. If they end up winning and the Brumbies end up winning their game, we're going to send you to the game? Seeing as you're in Christchurch, get that finals feel, although the chances are slimmer that the one does take place, but you never know. And also Blues again and Pumpty Dumpty, says Motu. That is the first time I've heard that saying, but it's very accurate in this case. And as South Africa, I like the fact that we are now playing in the URC. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a split there. Some people like it, some people hate it, but at the end of the day, they're making good money up north. They're making more money in that competition than they could have made in Super Rugby. So the benefit for South African rugby as a whole in the long run is higher than if they were to stay in Super Rugby. Yes, it diminishes a little bit of some people's opinion of the quality of Super Rugby, but when it comes to money, at the moment in World Rugby, I feel like it's one of those things that are more prominent than ever as money talks. And you just got to look at players going overseas. You got to look at the, teams going under. Gallagher Premiership, they've lost 3 teams so far, if not maybe 1 or 2 extra by the time we get to the next season. So, yeah, money's important. And Blues need a miracle, says Tafo. It'll also bring back the SA and the RG, says Michael Ray. And sure, says Isaac. And I'm in Christchurch, says Hayden. And also Razor has shown his qualities as a coach. His depleted team is running like a Rolls Royce. No surprises here, says Peter. And also the Blues and Brumbies are the top 4 team in Super Rugby, says Chuck. They are. That is why they are in the semi-finals. And I've seen a few comments like this, but even if the season's Chiefs can't win, this year the Crusaders' dominance will kill what interest there is left in Super Rugby, says random stuff in it. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I feel like deep down everyone wanted to see, a lot of people wanted to see the Crusaders in the final because then you're versing the defending champs. So whoever plays them, and if someone beats them, that has that little bit more of a big feel to it because you've taken down the top of the mountain. Wow, says Shane O'Williams. Let's go the Blues, says Dewey. But I still feel that the Blues, in the second half, they have to get something right. And I think it's just position. Just keep their hands on the ball, less handling errors, which is easier said than done, of course. Normally in the discipline side of things, you can be like, yeah, just don't go in the side of the breakdown. But for a drop ball, you just need the passes to stick. To be honest, I would have Tuanga Fussy off the field pretty soon. And I would put Jordan Lay out there just to mix it up a little bit. We've only actually seen, I think, 1 scrum throughout this first half, though, which was quite impressive. All right, and then change for the second half. At the moment, they are yet to tell us. I don't believe so for either of the sides, though. And you know what's cool is there is a bus that goes express from the train station I get off at, goes directly to my TAF, says Amelia. That is very cool. I don't think we've got many buses that pass through here other than the ones with school kids. And then if you're going like on a big road trip, I think they're the only ones about, but they probably only come every 4 hours. Blues are gone, says Daniel Watson. She's looking a little bit unlikely for them to get a comeback here, but it's not impossible. And that's the main thing to look at is the Blues. Can they win this game? But can they get back into this contest so that it's not a complete runaway? Yeah, they should be able to. But the second half now going to be back underway. And 513 views, surely most in your channel's history. It is one of the most for Super Rugby that we've had. Overall history, though, I think our most was 4,000 concurrent viewers, maybe, if I'm not wrong. What's Hamish Senior's opinion on the game? He hates the ref, I think is the gist of what I have heard. Is that correct?
Well, certainly the Crusaders are getting the rub of the green, and then the Crusaders are playing a hell of a lot better.
The Crusaders get in the rub of the green, but they're playing a lot better. And that one has now been turned over in the breakdown again for the Crusaders, who now look to go off to the right-hand side. Richie Moonga goes now to Tom Christie. Nice step going forward there. Tries to run over the top of Offa. Tuanga Fussy. Now Drummond going to the left-hand side. I should still mention that there's a yellow card for Hoskins Satutu for the Blues, so they are going to be playing with only 14 men on the field for the next maybe about 9 minutes or 8 minutes or so. Brandon Enoch tries a little grubber. Bowden Barrett not able to clean it up. Now taken by Mark Talia. Looks for the offload. Throws a very risky one. Now another offload from the Blues. They are definitely risking it. Only a few meters out from the line. Also, we have got Kyle in the chat. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. And also, do you stream the game in Discord? Says Kyle. We don't know. I mean, it would be an option if it wasn't illegal. So it's one of those ones, isn't it? Now it's kicked downfield from Finley Christie. good clearing kick, and they needed to release some of that pressure because they are still pouring it on. Good morning from South Africa. Incredible, predictable Crusader or Super Rugby results, says Albert in there. I mean, to be fair, according to the previous record between these two sides, the fact that 17 out of the last 18 times that they have played the Crusaders have been victorious, it is extremely surprising that the Blues came in as $2.30 underdogs. Because, like, compared to records and whatnot, you would say, how's that work? But then it's because this Blues side have all the talent in the world. They just don't know how to use it, unfortunately, in important games. Nice wide pass. Was that forward from Richie? Might have been, but it has gone into touch anyway. And what's that Crusaders reserve halfback? He played a Steeler a couple of weeks back. So they've got Willie Hines off the bench, but they have also got the youngster Chapman, Louis Chapman, and then there was also a young man off the bench named Lamb. Right, they've taken off Ollie Jaeger and put on Ruben O'Neill here for the Crusaders. That is the only change that they have made compared to the first half. Blues have so much flair, but other than Bodie, the backline doesn't strike me as mentally tough. Even Talia looks rattled after his defensive mistake, says Rando. And it is one of those ones that a side that are playing well as a whole, players are always going to look good. But a side that's under pressure, that's when you see the real diamonds in the rough of who are the great players that are going to be able to help you out in the big matches. Like for me, Papali'i stepped up in this game, which I feel like was quite important for him. Definitely because of Sam Cane's, Taonga Fuss, knocked the ball on again. Although I think they've said that he's kicked it forward. So it's going to be play on, unless no one saw that. I assume they didn't. Now off to the right-hand side again, Rico Ioane short ball. They've now got the advantage for offside. Offside number 1, that's against the mighty Williams. Caleb Clark takes that ball. They've moved up to 14 metres out, and no wrong, Amish. A turn up for professional games, especially semi, says Nate. Right, they're going back for that penalty. Any injuries? I'm not sure whether or not Jaeger went off because of injury or just because he had a pretty busy first half. And Filipina in Cyprus has waved. Hello. You are doing very well. But now, Bowden Barrett. It's going to be 14 metres out. They have to kick for the corner here. This is now, you just got to try and get as many points as you physically can in a hurry and try and make it go down to that last 20 minutes. Crusaders pressure on you all day. Exactly right. Like they rush defence. Sometimes they will get it slightly wrong, which they were penalised for there. See that Ricky Riccatelli actually has been taken off the field now, and that is for Kurt Eklund. So that could be an injury-related one because of how early it's taken place, unless they just want the tactics maybe with Eklund might work out a bit better. James Tucker, why has he been taken off the field? I think he's injured. He for me is a player that could have had a big game here, but just didn't get the chance to. And come on, the Blues, says Jacobus. And the game was over first 25 minutes, says Chuck. Going to be thrown in, nicely taken there. Not straight from Kurt Eklund for its first line-out throw of the day. They've now got Suafua now out on the field. And also, Filipino, I normally listen from Northern Cyprus. Hello, says Salah there. And comeback is on when the Blues score, says Daddy Fat Sacks. Unfortunately, the throw not quite straight enough there for the Blues. And that is one thing that you don't want as a hooker who's just made their way onto the field. The last time the Blues conceded 32 points or more in the first half was in 2009 versus the Bulls. So the most points scored against them in about 14 years in a first half. That is, I mean, is it proving that the Blues are playing very badly, or is it showing that the Crusaders are playing very well? The Crusaders are bloody ruthless. They are. They're looking tough. Moonga is king, says David the Mob, with his membership of 20 months now. It's 20 times that you have been charged for emojis and you have stuck around, David. It is very hugely appreciated. Moonga now, though, sells the dummy, tries to fend, breaking forward nicely. And even that run from Moonga is a huge difference from what we've seen from the Blues. These post-contact meters, the driving up, hitting it hard into the breakdown. Taonga Fussy, that was a bit of an interesting one, but he's actually ended up with the advantage going his way for a knock-on. Might have been the leg, though, which is why the crowd are booing. And ref decided to call a not straight throw-in. Let's hope he does the same with the Saders, says Daddy Fat Sexton. Hey, fellas, come on the Blues. Here's Marco there. Welcome in, Johnny. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're nervous for the game tomorrow. Does Finley Christie make the 23 loss? Says Chuck. For me, he honestly, like, I would probably not have him in my All Black squad, which sounds very harsh because, yeah, Dwayne Fussy kicking it out of the hands of Drummond there. A little bit of skill from Dwayne Fussy. Now it's going to be a scrum feed for the Blues. But yeah, for me, at the moment, off current form, it's a huge risk. But I would be taking Smith. That's not the risk. I'd be taking Smith, Weber, and I would actually have Roygaard, which isn't, it's a risky one, but I honestly feel like Roygaard has proven more in this season than Finley Christie has. Because Finley Christie spends more time complaining. If he had watched that breakdown, he could have seen that maybe he had a chance of taking the ball out, but Tom Christie wins it for the Crusaders. Like, he just talks too much. And I know that a halfback's supposed to, but there's a certain time for it, you know? You want a guy who's going to work.
Blues have got too many guys running around out in the back line making dummy runs.
Oh.
And not enough people in the forwards actually doing some work.
There we go. I don't know whether or not that came through, but Dad said there's too many players in the Blues side who are wanting to be dummy runners rather than doing the work in the forward
Look how
pack.
many forwards you've got there over the ball.
Great work from Tom Christie, though, to win that turnover.
You've got one.
Hamish, you got a Facebook game with all the games you do, says Hayden. We do have a Discord server, which we do end up putting the link to. Leicester Whainānuku straight through. Him versus Barrett. Sells the dummy. Didn't need anyone else, Whainānuku. Gets himself the try. That's another one. The Crusaders up to 37 now. JKB disappointed just a little bit, I would say. I don't think he'll be saying too much in the, or he'll be saying a lot actually in the breakdown, I would think. Oh, this one. And bring on Lamb, says Daddy Fats. Actually didn't actually have him in the team though. And GG says way win. Yeah, ain't wrong there. Says David the Modern. Well, that is a brilliant try from Leicester Whainānuku. Unfortunately, once again, mistake from the Blues leads to bonus for the Crusaders. And they are just one of those sides you can't afford to let any sort of space with their backline. What a nightmare. As good as the Crusaders have been, the dominance has been so bad for the popularity of rugby in New Zealand, says Distracted Sports in there. Yeah, the Blues, everyone wanted to see them do well in this game. Here, awaiting the cricket commentary or the Ashes with superhero, awesome commentary commentator Hamish Roxas says, Ruth, it would be a scary one to bring you on for a post-contact, or not post-contact, post-match interview, wouldn't it, Tony? Just because there might be a few swears. I mean, if you want to come on for a quick chat, we could. We'll just put a PG-13 rating. That kick's gone over from Richie Mo'unga as well. That now makes the score 39 points to 3. Is this going to be the largest winning margin we have seen for the Crusaders? Here's one for you. For the Crusaders to win this game by 51 plus points is paying less than for the Crusaders to win this game by any less than 26 points. That's an interesting one. What do you think of this? All Black needs new blood. I mean, having the new coach coming in for next season, I feel like there's going to be a lot of potential for younger players to get the chance, because that is one thing that I think people can't deny is the fact that with Scott Robinson, he gives these young players a crack at the Crusaders, and I feel like he'd have that same mentality at All Blacks level. That one's just stayed in the field of play. It's going to be off red, went backwards. Finley Christie, I mean, they've got the penalty there, but get in the breakdown, son. Right, Tackler not releasing the penalty there. Geez, don't put the knockers on us, mate. Not over yet, says Shane O'Williams. And Steve Smith to get a duck, says Far in the Ashes. Geez, win tomorrow, next week. Them cowbells be ringing loud in time for the Blues to catch the plane home, says Naomi. Now Bowden Barrett looking for the touchline. Does manage to find it quite nicely. Is that fly half related to Geordie Barrett? He is. It is his brother, old Bowden, and also the number 4 on the other team. We haven't even mentioned that. It's Barrett versus Barrett in this game, just like the old backyard days for the young Barrett boys. The Blues walk off after that penalty. Damn, says Thorfinn. Although now they've got themselves a line out. It's stolen by the Crusaders again. The line out miscommunication happening there. Hoskins Satutu's upside down trying to test out his handstands, practicing the gymnastics. Now Mo'unga kicks it for touch, doesn't get a huge amount of distance on it, but they will be about 25 metres out from the line now, with the Blues having another chance at line out time. And smash the like button, everyone. and still down to 14. Now they have gone back to 15 now, so Tutu made his way back out onto the field. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back for the semi-final next game. That is taking place tomorrow night between the Chiefs and the Brumbies. We are also only 18 away from 24,500. So if you would like to help us out, it would be very hugely appreciated. Now Kurt Eklund, 25 metres out from the Crusaders line. Tuanga Fassi hits it up again now. Goes back to Tom Robinson. The rush defence. Beauden Barrett has to pick up the loose ball after slapping it backwards. Now looks to carve his way through this defence of the Crusaders. Pretty well done from them, though, to be able to stop it. Adrian Choate now, he has made his way onto the field. I believe that is for, just looking around, I haven't seen Papali'i in a while, but I would think it's more for Akira Ioane. I think normally is the one that they do take off early on. The ball is out, they've said. Tom Robinson has to jump on. Oh, no, there's Akira Ioane. So it's either Satutu or Papali'i. I think it's Papali'i now off the field. That is another knock on from that time. It was Nepo Lulala this time who has dropped that ball. And I want Razor to talk to Whananuku and keep him here. Maybe ring to Lon. And it's one with Caleb Clark. Here's Marco Vunipola. Is number 13 related to the number 6 he is? Rieko Ioane and Akira Ioane, they are brothers. And one of them could be going off the field here. No, Rico looks like he is staying out there. Cezanne Sullivan, he is going on the field for Stephen Petafetta, and Plummer is going on the field for Bryce Heen. What is this, Beauden Barrett? Or Barrett? Does Hamish own a Parrot? Says it's Stephen. A few Barretts about on the field. A few Ioanes as well. Both could find themselves in the ABs in the near future. Yeah, currently 39 points to 3. Leon McDonald's looking like a deer on the headlights here, just looking like he has no idea what's going on. Which is a shame because up until the game started, Blues had a good chance. Needs 2 new props is the comment I've heard from the back, and I would agree. Ofa Tuangafasi has been well below par in this matchup. He's dropped the ball multiple times. Nepo Lulala is the same, and like he said earlier on, the random voice that you could hear from a distance, games can be half by one in the forwards, and you need a good forward pack. And it's just like Blues aren't having that great step from Will Jordan. Now he's accelerating like he's not even trying. Now moving up to 10 metres out from halfway. Moonga with the skip pass goes off to Cody Taylor. Waikato pass there on the outside to Sione Havile Talatui. Let's define Nuku. That looked like a hard knock on the skull. Yeah, he's holding his head now. That one's really held. Oh, no, that's not gone from Mark Talia. Now it's going to be another scrum feed. Oh, yeah, the bump's already forming on Lestafine Nuku's forehead. A big shot there. The final countdown. Love that song, says Mr. Loom. And also Plummer, FFS says far. And also come on the Blues. Oh, try will do it. And drop your ball. Will Jordan, great break of the line. Good work from Rieko Ioane to be able to make that tackle on him. But then Moonga with the skip pass to Cody Taylor, who then did the skip pass of his own out wide to Sione Havili Talatui, and yeah, just ended up falling into the arm of, that was Tuanga Fassi as well. Che Fiaki now has made his way onto the field. That is for Lestafine Arnuku, who might go off for an HIA while he's at it, but I think it is just a straight replacement now for him. Will it be Crusaders versus Chiefs in the final? There is a chance that that is what we get to see, but I mean, it's no easy task for the Chiefs in the next game up against the Brumbies. That is one thing to watch out for. That scoreboard looks like an old ladies bowling club score for the Blues. Says Roof, an excellent commentary, Hamish. We appreciate you, says William. No worries at all. We have got plenty more coming on the channel. We've got the whole of the first day of the Ashes is just around the corner. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. See if we can hit that goal of 500 on top of the 24. So yeah, we are about 17 away. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified. We do post a lot of videos though, so maybe set the notifications to marginal rather than all of them, or else you'll get sick of me very quickly. Now a nice run from, I believe that is going to be, oh, that's a good word. I can't say words when the Blues get in the breakdown because I'm worried they're going to get a penalty against them, but that's Papali'i who has won that one. Ball carrier hanging on. And also I have to say that's lost home this year. They have, up against the Chiefs in the first game of the Super Rugby Pacific competition. Or the first game that they played against each other. Anyway, nice wide pass out to Beauden Barrett. That's looking like it's just going to carve inwards. Richie Moonga, plenty of time to take that one and go across to Will Jordan, who thought about the kick. And that's a big difference that we've seen in the mentality of the Crusaders throughout this game. They don't want to kick the ball away. Richie Moore kicks the ball away, but it's a cross kick attempt, and it's going to sit up for Dallas McLeod, who's just gone into touch on the halfway line. But that's the big difference. They're running the ball from the back rather than returning fire. And I think that that's somewhere where the Chiefs versus Crusaders in the final, they might actually have quite a nice chess match going on. That one, where's Talia, Rico, and Clark? Yeah, Talia's been non-existent in this game because they shut him down early, and that's what you've got to do with those good players. They got him around the bootlaces a couple of times, and then he lost his momentum. McAllister now making his way onto the field. That is for Cody Taylor. And could be a coincidence. Still, Will Jordan coming back for the Crusaders. They've gone up leaps and bounds, says Joe Webby. Wanga Fussy being taken off the field. Probably about time, I have to say as well. Do you think Tamaiti has a chance at the ABs? I think so. Tamaiti Williams, definitely, because they have got those injuries such as Bauer, Moody, etc. Like, you've got those guys that could probably end up maybe coming back later on, but until then, you've got to find a replacement. Like, De Groot, I think, is in there. Yeah, I think Tamaiti Williams is a good option. Wanga Fussy, we'll see. Nice run forward now from Big Red. Papali'i will be in all black, and Jordan is slowly getting himself back into form. Or back after months of injury. Yeah, it took him a little while, but now he's going like he was a while ago. Now Mark Talia tackled by Scott Barrett. Put him under plenty of pressure. Okay, Moong at second then. But that's where I draw the line, says Scott. Now offloaded back from the Blues, Cameron Suafua. I will mention the last two times that these two sides have played, the Blues have gone 135 minutes without scoring a try against the Crusaders. Almost 2 full matches. That's too many minutes, actually. Or is it? No, that's correct. That is the right number. As well, Jordan playing fullback. He is for this one. Looks like we've got a bit of an injury here for Ruben O'Neill, who actually only recently came onto the field for Ollie Jaeger. Man, Crusaders are so good shutting down the Blues tonight, says William. Yeah, they've just had to play this game from the back foot, the Blues, and it's just not quite working for them. They are just showing that the kickoff for the Chiefs versus Brumbies tomorrow. It's at 7:05. We will be covering that one on the channel as well, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. You reckon Tui Pelotu will make the Rugby World Cup squad this year? I don't, because I don't think he's going to be back in time, sadly, because of his broken arm. I think, if anything, like, he'd probably be back about halfway through this Rugby World Cup cycle, which is a little bit tricky. Definitely if they're just about to go, they probably don't want to risk putting him straight back in. But then that gives the opportunity to a young guy, I guess. No Sam Whitelock. Yeah, a lot of injured locks at the moment in New Zealand. Looks like the Blues team, or last team talk was in the pub last night. Very disappointing performance, says Patrick Hercules. They're just showing on the 5th of August. The All Blacks are going to be playing the Wallabies. That is at 1:30 p.m. I believe on that afternoon I'm going to engagement party, if I'm not wrong. But that is after the rugby. They were a little bit strategic. If it had to overlap with rugby, they thought, well, we better do it after the game so that we can see if the All Blacks or the Wallabies are victorious. And sad that Leicester is leaving the shores, but hope he will be back, says Amosi there. Now back across to the left-hand side. Nice run from Mark Talia, moving up to about 45 metres out. Can the Blues get themselves one try? That is a knock-on from Adrian Chota, is it? No, they say that Pitafetta was not accidentally offside there. Christie with the offload to Bowden Barrett. Well shut down by Will Jordan, who gets him down on the turf. Now Christie goes across to the right-hand side. Bit of work there. Good work, Kiwi Lad, says Trio. Thank you very much, mate. Pitafetta, nice step. This is probably most momentum the Blues have had so far in the second half. Now Christie, can they make the most of it? Cameron Suafua hit hard low by Jack Goodhue. Not on the ball, leave it, says Gardner. Now Bowden Barrett. Short ball, Rico Ioane. Can he get the first try? He's going to be dragged down just short. 5 metres out from the line now. But the Blues, they've got momentum. Short ball to Jordan, lane driven backwards. That Will Jordan who made the tackle on him. It was. Big shot coming in from the fullback. Now Big Red, Tom Robinson. The Blues have got a chance here if they can get it right. Cameron Suafua with the step. Crusaders drag him down 1 metre out now. Could end up being the penalty advantage. Yes, it is. This is an ideal opportunity for the Blues to get themselves their first try of the match. Now offloaded back. Christie slinging past the Pitafetta. He's shut down very early. Now back across to the left. Bowden Barrett goes himself and gets himself the first try of the match for the Blues. 57 minutes in. But they have got themselves their first try of the contest. The Blues, the third of the season for Bowden Barrett. There's talk Ebenezer missing Rugby World Cup also, which will be a massive shame because it will be more than likely his last Rugby World Cup. Ebenezer don't think he'll be there for 2027. Or he might. He'll try and extend it a little bit, be the new Alan Wynne-Jones perhaps. I have the feeling that Razor reads Leon like a book, knows exactly what he is up to. And I was like, hey, we scored, says Nate. They did indeed.
So Bowden Barrett scoring there saved one of the Crusaders came to the bin for 10 minutes.
Maybe. My dad would like to have words with Angus Gardner. By the sounds of it.
No, I'm just making a statement.
Finally, a Blues try, says David the Mod, and Bodie deserves a try tonight, but trying hard for the team. About time, says Naomi. Now Bowden Barrett going to be lining up this kick from about 25 metres out on the angle. Does end up missing it away to the left-hand side, so the score will now remain 39 points to 8 in favour of the Crusaders. Future AB, says John T there. Wait, for Suafua or for Bowden Barrett? And already counting the days till next season, knowing Tupou is now officially a Rebels player. I just hope that he doesn't get injured again, like at the start of the season, because the amount of times we've seen a transfer made and then the player gets injured at the start of the season, we don't see him. For Tuli Pai, perfect example. He went from the Crusaders to the Highlanders, got injured in pre-season. We didn't see him all year. Luckily, he's back now, though. That was a little while ago. Show us the game. Says Dane, sadly, we aren't able to show any match footage or audio, or else YouTube would give us a right smack round the noggin. Now, Adrian Choke goes across to Bowden Barrett, across to Jordan Lake. Good run forward from him. Now, knocked out of his hands. Good pun. Now, Bowden Barrett. Geez, he's decided he wants to start playing now that we're 57 minutes in. Knock. Going off to Mark Talia. That man does not like passing, so I don't expect one here. Let's go down to ground. And the Blues, it's important that they just get their few phases going here. Harry Plummer, big shot on him by Scott Barrett. Now knock. Going to the left. Here comes Bowden Barrett. Want to see the game, says Namani. It's on Sky Sport 1. It's the perfect place to watch it. It's completely legal on there as well. And the scoreline is looking similar to the 3 Crusaders versus Hurricane semi. Now, awkward tackle made there on Stephen Petafetta. The ball is ripped by the Crusaders and the penalty goes the way of the Blues. And too late for the Blues. Bowden Barrett takes the quick tap. Now passes off to big red Tom Robinson. Shot on him, though, by Tom Christie and Jack Gucci. Rico Ioane goes off to the right-hand side to Harry Plummer. And the tackle by Sione Havili Talatui. Marcel Renata. In fact, it's Jordan Lay again. He's already done more in the 5 minutes he's been on the field than Tuanga Fasi did throughout his 55. Marcel Renata almost manages to pierce the gap. The same could be said about Renata for Lulala as well. Now, Rico. Seems to be, has anyone else noticed that ever since the subs have been made, pretty much the whole forwards and also the backs, we've seen more of Bowden Barrett, we've seen more of Rico Ioane, and we've seen more of Mark Talia. Just in the last 5 minutes, ever since those subs have been made. So perhaps the Blues, they could have just gotten the selection a little bit wrong by this matchup, and it's ended up heavily costing them. Now Sam Knock going to the right-hand side, off to Kurt Eklund, cross kick from Bowden Barrett, goes out wide, great take from Papali'i, who slides onto it 22 metres out the line now for the Blues. Mark Talia, round the side, tackled by Sione Havili Talatui. Cameron Suafua, 22 metres out. 20, or now they've moved to 20. That was actually a nice little bit of extra meterage made. That's going to be cross kick. Nicely taken by Will Jordan, who calls for the mark. And that is now going to mean Crusaders, they get out of that pressure. Although they've got an injury here. It looks like Brody McAllister, man who only recently made his way onto the field. That looks like he's holding the groin or the hamstring there. It's the inside of the leg, which is not too fun. Looks like they're going to kick this one for touch. Or at least they considered it until they realised that he was still down at 84 days until the Rugby World Cup. Yeah, it is getting closer. I remember when we were saying it was about 850 days till the World Cup. And now it's actually kind of here, almost. It's a nice cross kick from Bowden Barrett. And then that one, optimistic to get it out to Clark. Clark should have taken that, says Daddy Fatsack. He did seem very wide. Maybe he expected Bowden to put a little bit more onto it. Seems he went off. Plummer should have been in before him, says Joe Webby. And Clark is so overrated, says Chuck in there as well. I think 84 days until the Rugby World Cup was the nicest thing you've said today, Chuck. Carries, we've seen 119 from the Blues, 10 clean breaks for the Crusaders compared to the 6. We do see now Corey Kello making his way onto the field as well. I never know how he makes the ABs 15, says Chuck. I must say, Jack Goodhue is playing well, says Joe Webby. Yeah, he seems like he took a little bit to get going, but he's put in some big shots, which could be important. Definitely because at the moment, the number 12 jersey isn't really secured by anyone for the ABs. It's probably the most contested jersey we've got in terms of no one knows who's going to get it. Looks like Brody McAllister, he's going to have a big bruise on the inside of his thigh tomorrow. Samoa's going to lose in the World Cup, says Tanufi. I mean, they might lose one game at some point, but I'd like to think that they'd get themselves at least one victory throughout their group stage. The Blues really do miss Patrick, says Jonty. Now, towards the touchline there, Will Jordan for his mark. Now, back across to the right-hand side of Kiriwani. Runs at Cody Taylor, who would have been just putting the feet up, enjoying a bit of a spell after got taken off the field. Now, Caleb Clark running. Good tackle made on him by Che Fiaki. Back to the left-hand side again now. Marcel Renata up to the halfway line. Sione Havili Talatui asking for the advantage to be in their favour. Referee says bugger off. 45 metres out from their own line here, the Blues. Cameron Suafua back to Bowden Barrett. That's about the 4th time that they've passed that ball behind Bowden Barrett when he's been running forward. So it seems like there's just that little bit of a communication error. And Chuck ain't wrong about Clark, though. Defensive breakdowns are pretty worrying, says Simon. And Akira goes missing in the important game, says Larry, and Ireland won't win the World Cup, says Jano Williams. Well, there's talks now of them not having Sexton at all for that World Cup due to him not liking referees. So it's going to be interesting to see how many games he's actually suspended or / banned for, because we might not see Johnny Sexton put it on an Irish kit ever again. There was one earlier on for the Crusaders that I thought went backwards, so that evened it out. Bring back Sonny Bill Williams, says Tiny Man Productions. Akira always goes missing in every game, says Shandog. Yes, number 6 jersey probably was also a little bit contested. I mean, if Summer Penny Finn now puts his hand up and says, I want to play for the All Blacks, I'd have him in there. He's been pretty good. Now, Hurricanes made it into the semi-finals, not the Brumbies, says Taunufi. Now, nice big scrum from the Crusaders. They do get themselves the penalty advantage. Offload there to Willie Hines. Now to Richie Moonga has the option on the outside. Lined up there by Adrian Choate, though. He wasn't enjoying the dummy selling at all. If anyone even interested, or is anyone even interested in the Women's FIFA World Cup, my daughter wants me to take her to the New Zealand game in Dunedin. Looks like it will cost $30 for us, for the 2 of us. The price isn't ridiculous, at least, says Jason. Yeah, that's quite a decent bargain, isn't it? Definitely, because you go down to the All Blacks versus South Africa, or no, sorry, All Blacks versus Wallabies that taken place in Dunedin. They were charging, I think it was $90 minimum for a ticket for that game. And don't play too hard, Crusaders, in case of more injuries in the final next week, says Naomi. Well, that is the thing. They ended up with about 3 injuries in those final moments of the game up against the Fijian draw, including Richie Moonga. Summer Penny deserves to call up our Nukano. There's Laurie. But yeah, he's certainly got that option. And the other option you've got with him is he can play lock, which is beneficial with the amount of locking guys that we have lost. And he fights in the semis, says Mr. Lim. Nah, not even a push or a shove. They needed Dane Coles out there. He would have been able to rack it up a little bit. Enrico back to the wing for the AB. Centre is just wrong, man, says Tiny Man there. And play a full game even if your ball sack gets ripped, says OB. Exactly right. Although I think he might have ripped something else there, Brody McAllister, a little bit lower than the balls. Cost us 140 for our All Blacks tickets in August, says Jason. So, yeah, they certainly like to bump those prices up. So I feel like there's a bit of a bargain going to that game. When does the Women's Football World Cup start? Is it next month or the month after? It's soon, though, isn't it? And then the same can be said about the Under-20 World Cup. I believe that starts in 8 days. And how about the Flying Fijian team in the World Cup? What's your opinion, says Lai Hassani? I think they've got a brilliant chance of making it through to the next stage because they've got Australia, who at the moment no one knows what to expect from them. They've got Wales, which no one knows what to expect from them. And then they've got Georgia and Portugal. It's so important, though, that they beat both Georgia and Portugal. Even though Georgia versus Fiji normally is a close game, that looked like a knock-on back there from the Crusaders. So they will go back. Enor thought he was going to go back in for another one. But with the ease of this win for the Crusaders, is only going to help them in the final because I can see the Chiefs game as a right slog. Yeah, I think it's going to be very close. The next one is before the ABs down here, says Jason. Yes, I must be real soon. All right. Now 66 minutes down at the moment, the Crusaders. They were looking to use that back line again, just a little bit out in front of Quinton Strange. Double knock on, they've said, by both sides. We want to host the Brumbies next week in Christchurch. That's what we want. Be a better game, says Michael in there. And Razor had upped his game. And I think the Women's World Cup starts 20th of July. Yep. My mum said, yep. I got Cody knocking Coles clean out, says Chuck. I mean, it would be an interesting box. It's one of those ones that in 5 years' time, they are both retired, that they might do for a charity boxing thingy. Something like that, kind of like what Gallen and all those fellas did. Now, Willie Hines about to feed the ball in for the Crusaders. Have you realised that the Blues started playing better when the substitutes came on? I did. Mentioned it straight away because there was a huge difference. We saw the key players starting to flourish. Whereas in that first kind of 55 minutes or so, we saw hardly any of them. The penalty actually going the way of the Blues at scrum time there. And now they are going to have themselves the line out from about 15 metres out. Ned Flanders scored the try of the season last week. Says Afar, yeah, it was a great run. Although it's one of those ones that if he didn't score it, it could have been bad news for him because then he had like 3 other options to be able to use. But yeah, Devon Flanders, he's another option that could be a 6 for the ABs in the future. Nicely taken there by the Crusaders again. I don't think the Blues have won a successful line-out throughout this contest. One since Eklund come on is the stat that I've just heard. That one hasn't found touch from Richie Moonga. Now Clark goes across to Budin Barrett. Looking to find a gap, but he's taken down early by, I think it was Jack Goodhue. Again, he's made a lot of tackles throughout this fixture. Marcel Renata moving to now about 40 metres out from Sader's line. Knock goes across to Barrett. I want to say that the ball's actually getting out the backs a lot quicker with Sam Knock on the field. As well, now Talia knocks the ball on. That's about the 3rd time he's dropped the ball in this contest. Now, scrum fair for the Crusaders again. Will Fakatava make the ABs? I don't know if he's done enough this year. I think he's a great player, but in terms of game time that they've been able to give him, I don't think they've given him enough alongside Aaron Smith to get him that spot in the ABs. But yeah, someone like, I want to see Roygaard, but I don't know if they'll give him the chance with it being so close to a World Cup. But I feel like he's a young player that certainly with a little bit of help could become a big star for the ABs. Fijian draw played better against Crusaders than the Blues, says Tony. I agree. I think that the Fijian draw showed a lot more fight. Even when they were losing badly, they were still trying. And that's why the Crusaders ended up with those injuries late in the contest, because they would still put in the big hits, the drawer. I'm trying to remember the last big hit that we've seen in this game, and it was probably the one when I think it was Robinson ran straight at Goodhue and Christie, and that was in the first half. Or right at the start of the second, I think it was. And baby, that was fab. Hamish, you're fantastic as usual. Crusaders are in fine form today. I literally did not expect this walkover. The Blues really pissed at it. Says Wonga. That's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the Crusaders. Now going off to the left to Braden Enor with the spin. Wasn't held. It is tackled by Sam Knock. They'll go back for the original penalty. Now the Crusaders, they've got the option of just kicking this one for the 3 if they really want to use up a little bit more time. Has Ian Foster been seen at the game? I don't think so. I think he'll be at the Chiefs versus Brumbies game, though. And this game reminds me of last year's final, says Naomi. Yeah, it's more one-sided than anyone would have really wanted, I would say. But the Crusaders, they're showing that they're ready for that final next week. And whether that's going to be a home one at OrangeTheory Stadium up against the Brumbies, or whether that's going to be away from home at FMG up against the Chiefs, it's going to be an exciting one, because the Chiefs are the only side to be able to beat the Crusaders at home this year. And then they'll be in the Chiefs' home. So it could be quite a cool one. Now, Cody Taylor, like I mentioned, thought that his day was done, but with Brody McAllister being injured, he did have to make his way back out onto the field. Got it in nicely, taken by Scott Barrett, and now the rolling ball starts again here for the Crusaders. They've been told to use it once. Get off the leg. What you say to an untrained dog, isn't it? Now, Jack Goodhue going to Richie Mo'unga, finds the pass on the outside to the youngster Fergus Burke, and he gets himself the try now. Raiders, they can move up to 49 if this conversion is successful. It's just well done again. It's just the back line's doing very well. There are gaps absolutely opening up everywhere in that Blues back line. I think Fozzie is showing early signs Parkinson's disease, this Chuck, and how Imagine Chiefs beat Crusaders on final in Christchurch is burial, although they will be playing at FMG Stadium in Waikato for that one. Richie Mo'unga passes off to Burke on his outside. Was able to run it in. I don't think he's been on the field that long, Fergus Burke. He's been just chilling on the sideline, waiting for his chance to shine, and he has just got over that try line. Papali and Barrett both trying their best to stop him, so you're still seeing those men in there working hard for their side. And see y'all at the cricket soon, says Roof. But yeah, that is going to be starting in 1 hour and 10 minutes time. We are going to be starting the Ashes commentary, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. Why am I not convinced with Richie Mo'unga as an All Black? Because you don't like Richie Mo'unga. 8 minutes remaining in this contest. 88% success rate for Mo'unga off the tee today. And just a nightmare. So disappointing. Rugby is dying. All aboard the Warriors train. Oh no, they're getting close to the playoff games. That could be the same story as the Blues, depending on how they fare up, I guess you could say. It's a good batting pitch, says Hanoi. And Bowden Barrett and Clark should not be on the plane to France, says Chuck. And there's no way the Abies can take on the Irish playing like the Blues, says David the Mod. And also, is Joe Schmidt still coaching? I think he's assistant. He's still tied up this year, but I don't think he is next year, if I'm wrong. Nicely taken there by Quinton Strange. The score now sitting 49 points to 8. What's the difference? 41 points at the moment between the two sides. I mentioned earlier on that 51 plus points for the Crusaders to win by became the favourite option. That is another penalty to the Crusaders. Hands down first, not supporting body rate or body weight penalty against Marcel Renata. And be a Christchurch final next week, only if the Brumbies beat the Chiefs. If the Chiefs beat the Brumbies, it's a final at FMG Stadium in Waikato. But yeah, if the Brumbies beat the beat the Chiefs, they will be playing at OrangeTheory Stadium, where the Crusaders will then have their 29 from 29 winning record. And Warriors are fifth on the table, says Hayden. Blues were a bit higher than fifth, weren't they? They were third, weren't they? Third or fourth? Second? No, they must have been third. Now, Cody Taylor throws the ball in. It's gone down. Ball available, though, at the back for Willie Hines. Flat pass off to Jack Goodhue. Tackled by Adrian Choate and Dalton Papali. Now Mo'unga goes across to Fergus Burke with the pass out to Will Jordan. Puts the chip in behind. Going to be a nicely placed one as well. Just drifts into touch. And they're trying to say that Bowden Barrett touched that, but he was out already at the time that it happened. Are you covering any of the USA Sevens comp, says Image? I did not know about a Sevens comp in the USA. Which one's that, Image, and whereabouts? Well, when is that taking place? I'm feeling so bitter, says Tony. Do you want to come on for a post-match chat, Tony? I don't know whether that will make you feel any better or not, but well, the refs overruled it. But there was a slight touch on the arm of Bowden Barrett, but I thought that was already out. Maybe. Steve Smith is going to smash the Poms, says Chuck. That's overthrown, and the Blues win a line out. Kick downfield from Kurt Eklund. What a fantastic kick that is from the number 16. Now down into the 22. Will Jordan goes across to Richie Mo'unga, who puts it into touch about 42 metres out. How is Jack Goodhue looking today overall? Is he back? I think he's getting there. He's a little bit like Will Jordan was, how he's still going to need a couple more games, I feel, to really find his feet, but he has been above average in this contest. He's been looking pretty solid. And Blues for life, win or lose, says John T in there. Nicely taken by Dalton Papali, and the Blues, they're looking for that next try. Shot on Plummer around the bootlaces there. Sam Knott goes across to Peter Feta, now Clark. And it starts looking like now that passes are actually finding the hands of the Blues backline. Whereas earlier on, it just wasn't quite the case. So I don't know whether or not that is the Christie being taken off the field alongside Bryce Heem that has changed that. And I was going to pass it over to me, my guy. I'll puff for you. says Blues Nate. And Sadas always to the bone, and just like the draw score, says the Pellet. Yeah, actually very, very similar. And does Sean Stevenson make the ABs? If he doesn't, there's something wrong if he doesn't make it through. Because what can he do other than what he's done this year? You know? Nice work there on the breakdown from Harry Plummer. Actually manages to get the turnover now for the Blues. Mark Talia with a little bit of a step. Now, 4 minutes remaining. I'd like to see the Blues reach double figures. Big shot coming in there on Bowden Barrett. Loose ball. Harry Plummer unable to hang on to it. The Crusaders end up back in position. He got the advantage there, says Angus Gardner. Now Will Jordan poots it up high. Could be an awkward one for Rico, but he gets it. He goes, "Can I please have the mark, sir?" And they'll go back for the original penalty. Stevenson will probably make the ABs. And what's happening to Jofra Archer? He had a good battle with Smith. He did. It was actually Jofra Archer that caused Marnus Labuschagne to get his chance. When you think about it, if he didn't bowl that bouncer to Steve Smith and knock him in the head, Labuschagne wouldn't have been called up to the Aussies. So you can thank Jofra for Labuschagne. Although, to be fair, a lot of South Africans watch these ones. So Labuschagne. Mark Talia has had a below average game, unfortunately, in this one. Did Rico do anything to keep his 13 ABs jumping? Not in this game. I would have to say, get Uncle Hamish's dad on the stream after the game so he can meet Dick Joke Tony. Says Grant. Yeah, to be fair, I don't think he's been on a stream with Tony. Has Bob been on a stream with Tony? No, George has been. That's always an interesting combination. Is this really a semi-final? It is. Unfortunately, I thought it would be a little bit closer. Scotty has said, there's a great listening to you talking about what's going on live in Japan. Japan loves All Blacks. Always gets me a date, says Scotty there. Geez, I need to go to Japan. 2 minutes remaining. Richie Mo'unga taking on the 3 points. And heard Rico's name mentioned once in 60 minutes, says Chuck. Oh, the Premier US 7 starts this month, men's and women's with Ruby Tour. I might have to look into it, see if it is going to be shown here in New Zealand. That kick has gone over from Richie Mo'unga, and that will now make the score 52 points to 8. Now, I'm not sure what the largest winning margin for the Crusaders is over the Blues, but I would say that it's probably, this has got to be top 4. Oh, my dad's just said, oh no, slip there. He said that the Crusaders now on the board have more points than all of the Indian batsmen were able to score runs in that World Test Championship. And has Blues even win to the Crusaders in any match? Once in the last little while. 17 of the last 18 games, the Crusaders have been victorious. How many more minutes left? Just the one. And it looks like the Crusaders aren't done yet. They have got the advantage there. Willie Hines, it's going to be the knock on. And off to Scott Hamilton wedding tomorrow. Scott Hamilton, ex-Crusader, says Dave there. Nice. Scott Hamilton. That name rings a bell. Blondie on the wing, I've just heard from the background. Just got home. Yes, up the boys. This is the biggest margin I know. There we go. Most points in a final match for the Blues. They have now, for the Crusaders, they have actually beaten their record, which was up against the Drua last week. Pretty decent form, you'd have to say. Uncle Hamish's dad with the clapping from Grant. And as well, but yeah, he will be joining me for the first session of the Ashes, I think. Yep. Yeah, be sure to keep an eye out for that. That is starting at 9:51 hour from now. We've also got a preview coming out for the Brumbies versus Chiefs game. That is going to be out at about 9:10, somewhere around there, or maybe 9:30, in fact, will be when that one does end up coming out. Crusaders finished last on the table in 1996. It's the fun fact from Stone Cold. And Blues never this bad. What's going on, says Barry Green. Unfortunately, there's a lot that you could list. I think Tony's going to list a lot of it as well when he comes on. I should mention anyone who isn't a fan of hearing swear words. After this live stream, we are going to have a man who is very passionate about his Blues and also doesn't have much of a filter. So he might say a few bad words every once in a while. So just that warning now. We've still got a minute left of this game, though, but it is going to be taken up by scrum resets by the looks of it. Well, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. Would you rather be 184 centimeters and 88 kgs, Havili, or 189 centimeters and 103 kgs, Rico? I always find it hard to believe that Havili's 88 when Rico's 103. But, I mean, I'd just like to be 184 centimeters. Is that an option? Just locking in a little bit more height? 2 cents is Waywind. It is Tony, but Tony might have a chat. I don't know if 2 cents would want to come on after this performance from the Blues. I feel like it would be A bit of a rub in the face, wouldn't it? Rub in the face, that's not kick in the face. Give him one of those. Not literally, we wouldn't kick Mark in the face. Now, nice hands from the Blues. They're looking for one last try. No hating from me. Crusaders deserve winners tonight. Congrats and best wishes in the final. Shame to be a Blues fan from tonight's performance. That one is going to be now available for the Blues again, although I think, Cody Taylor, that's going to be a knock-on there against the Crusaders, I would think. Unless the Blues can keep this. Now it's been picked up and it's a penalty there against... yeah, you heard that. But it's an offside against the Crusaders. Blues can't even get into double figures. They could. They're looking for the corner now. One last chance. That's how do you donate, says Scotty. There is a little dollar sign in the bottom corner of the chat, I believe. I think it's on the right-hand side or the left. And then from there, they have little emojis and whatnot that you can do. Of course, all donations are hugely appreciated. They are not necessary, though. Anyone who doesn't feel that they want to donate, it's all good. Plus, it just goes back into the channel anyway. So, audio-wise, I think is the next upgrade. We are looking at Eklund now. Going to be going for the line-out throw. I'm going to send my link to everyone who wants one. There we go. Kiriwani goes off to Sam Knock. To Harry Plummer, hits it up at the line. Blues looking to cut down this deficit just that little bit more, but Eklund, good run forward at Corey Callow. Sam Knock, short ball to a Kiriwani. That's his first run, I almost think. Old mate's been hiding this whole game. Is that his first run? Surely not.
He's been seagulling out in the back line where the rest of the forwards were earlier.
Sam Knock now, though, that starts to look like there's a bit of a gap there on this left-hand side. If they can get it out wide, they've got another advantage. So this game's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be going on for just a little bit longer. Bowden Barrett goes off to Harry Plummer now, 5 metres out from the line. Knock with a wide cut-out pass. Here comes Caleb Clark. Yay. He scored the try in the corner. Why didn't they do that like 50 minutes ago? Make it a game. Unfortunately for them, though, the Crusaders, they were too strong in the early parts of the contest. Clark gets his 7th try of the season. It's going to be his last, though. He's another player who we've only seen try and catch a ball once, and that was it throughout this matchup, which I think you can just really put down to the amount of pressure that the Blues have been under from the Crusaders. Willie Hines, he knew he wasn't going to be able to push him out there. And Fozzie, a good guy, says, Chuck, and will there be more? I hope not. It's a joke for the semi, says Michael, and also Marcus O'Toole. They have to lay down to be kicked in the face. Yeah, he's a unit, isn't he, old Mark? He's about 1.90 meter, isn't he? Somewhere up there. Very sad Blues, says Jakobistan. Who do you think has played their way out of the AB's jersey? I mean, I wouldn't say that Tawanga Fussie's had a great game. Two props. I've just heard from the background. Nipololala was the other fella there. You'd have to say Akiriwani. Yep, I'm hearing an echo at the moment. It seems like we're on the same wavelength. Like father, like son is the saying, isn't it? Bowden Barrett. Oh, hang on. What? He's still in there somewhere, isn't he, Bowden? No, who are you having instead at fly half?
The difference between the two teams here is the efficiency of the back lines.
I think Finley Christie's playing himself out of the ABs, but to be fair, I didn't have him in there anyway.
One back line couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, and the other one functioned very, very well.
Doing Salamol this year if you can, says Hanoi. And also, congrats to funny haircut Elton Yankee, who's in the box squad again. Says a Marco, and in New Zealand weighing passages now, so Fozzie couldn't make it to Christchurch. Says far, harsh. Cheers, thanks for the great commentary. AFL game starts in 35 minutes, says Jonathan. And I should mention we have got the cricketing commentary for the Ashes that we will be covering on the channel in a very short moment. That is at 9:50 p.m. New Zealand time. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back tomorrow for the semi-final fixture between the Chiefs and the Brumbies as well. So plenty more action to come in the near future. Now, we are moments away from being joined by a guest, ladies and gentlemen. And like I mentioned, this guest, he's a Blues fan through and through. The language may not be as PG. So just that warning's out there now. So parental guidance recommended for younger viewers when he does end up joining. Just realised Patrick is the one and only of this, only senior in for the team next year, says John T. And I was a Mark DeLeo. I mean, he had a pretty rough game, but with the try-scoring prowess that he's got, he's probably still going to be in there at some stage. And Pop sounds knowledgeable, Hamish. I think he needs to make an on-screen debut. He's actually already had quite a few games. State of Origin, he's going to be joining me for that upcoming one. And then also alongside that, Tony's pointing at me. He can't hear me. Okay. Interesting. We're going to be playing charades. And thank you so much, Steve, in the cricket. See, it's got even nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, the well-behaved Tony of Distracted Sports. Do I add him in yet? Or he still can't hear me, so we might leave him off for a little bit longer. And also, we have got that one crying and the Blues disappointing. Says a Shandog. Unfortunately, they didn't play like a side who thought they were through to a semi-final. And this man, I'm sure, will tell you a thing or two about this scenario without using swear words. Here comes Tony, ladies and gents. Hello, Tony.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing better than you, unfortunately.
It's the hope. It's the hope that fucking kills you. It fucking every you warned them that I was going to swear. It's the hope.
I did.
And that was it wasn't tight. It wasn't close. There was nothing in it. There was when it was just an absolute butt spanking. And just like it was the first game of the year where I was like really looking forward to it for about those first 2.5 minutes before they got that 50-22. I was like right into it. And then it was just like premature ejaculation. Very disappointing. It was
very disappointing, but it happens. So I think the big thing to take out of this was Crusaders are looking on a tear for that final path.
Yeah, fuck off. I don't give a shit about the Crusaders. They can suck my asshole.
Hey. Listen.
Yay, the Crusaders are looking good at finals time. Oh, fucking great. Brilliant. Oh, that's real original stuff. Everyone's thrilled that the Crusaders are looking good. Yay. That's super new. I've never seen that before. Fuck. Oh, sorry.
I feel like this is good. It's kind of like therapy, isn't it? Kind of like getting it off the chest.
Yeah, of course they're looking good. They're the Crusaders, but like, okay, you have to respect the team. You have to respect that team. They're incredible. They've had this amazing dynasty, but rugby sadly is dying in New Zealand right now. In the country where it's been a religion for so long, definitely in Auckland, rugby league is bigger than rugby union right now. And we have half the population base of the entire country. So, or over half of the 2/3, or I don't know how many people. I think we've got 3 million in Auckland, and there's freaking 5 million people in the country. And like this tiny little, area of New Zealand, the Christchurch region, has pulled in all the best talent from the Manawatu, from counties for the last 6 years, and they've had the best coach, but it's been terrible for the interest of rugby. Nobody gives a crap because it's like the amount of people I know my entire life are like, I'm just not watching rugby anymore because we know what's going to happen. Like this is going to be 7 years of this. Like it ain't good for the code. It ain't good for the team is great. Obviously, if you're from there, woohoo. But if you take a bigger, broader perspective on it, it's bad for the game in terms of the interest of it in New Zealand. No one gives a shit about Super Rugby. We've seen that all year, and like, yeah, I think a lot of this is tainted by my current bitterness. I am seriously bitter, but I don't know. Your thoughts?
A lot of people are agreeing with you in terms of the fact that with the same side winning so often, like that's where the URC was quite good in a way because the South African sides went in and then all of a sudden it was a contest at the top. Stormers won it this year. Munster won it. So
this will be 7 years. 7 years in a row for like this little area of New Zealand. Like it's not like people in Otago have had a crappy team. They've had nothing to get behind. The Wellington region aren't fully in behind it. Like no one else in the area in New Zealand cares anymore because it's like when you played at school and the same kid would win, handball at lunchtime. Everyone was like, I don't want to play anymore. Like it's just that on a grander scale. And I don't want to play anymore. I'm going to stop swearing. Okay, Hamish?
Okay. That's okay. Fuck. I think by now everyone, okay. There we go. Got it out there. Yeah, I think the good news in a way is
no, don't you do this. Do not. I don't want to hear the good news. The good news about a 52-15 pumping, like in a semi-final between our two, like, well, I guess the Chiefs are definitely up there, but just okay, sorry. Tell me the good news. Tell me the good news
is it's slightly, I guess, taken out some players of the equation of who can play pressure rugby and who can't. for the ABs?
I don't know
Because
about that, man. Like, I think it's such fine margins, and part of those fine margins come down to coaching. And I think at this time of year, Scott Robinson can do incredible things. So if we look at Lester Whaianuku, right? He at finals football for the Crusaders, he looks incredible. Okay. I did not see an All Black play worse than Lester Whaianuku than he did against the Irish last year. When he got up to that Irish level, when he was under Fozzie, pressure rugby, he looked like absolute dog's balls. So, like, I think Scott Robinson is a genius coach, and I am chuffed for two reasons. I'm chuffed that he's now going to be the All Blacks coach next year, and I am also chuffed that he is leaving the Crusaders. You know, I think it's beneficial for New Zealand twofold. Essentially, like, yeah, it's just not interesting anymore for anybody outside that little region of New Zealand. You know, like, that's it. You know.
So Chiefs Brumbies tomorrow. You're backing the Chiefs to get the victory.
Yeah, I'd probably back the Chiefs, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Brumbies got up. But boy, oh boy, I'm really going to be on the bandwagon for either the Chiefs or the Brumbies like next week. Like, I'd love to see the Brumbies beat the Crusaders. It's a freaking toxin in our system, the Crusaders and their dominance. It's just poisoned New Zealand rugby. Like, it's just not interesting. Nobody gives a shit. Like, you know, this is what we do. We talk about this game, and like when we talk about the URC, or you talk about the Champions Cup, or you talk about the Six Nations, yeah, interest is really high. Talk about Super Rugby, people are like, in New Zealand, people who are lifelong rugby fans are just like, nah, not watching it, not doing anything. You're like, well, they're disinterested. So I don't know.
Tricky one, isn't it?
Tricky one.
But there is still some positives that came out of this game, Tony. Just a little bit for the Blues. And that is, I think that we saw some very good work from certain players once they made a couple of changes.
Look,
so I'm wondering,
to be honest,
whether or not
I had an argument with my girlfriend before the match. She wanted to watch. She watched 90s television shows in 2023. Or no, when was Lost coming? She's watching Lost right now. She wanted to watch Lost on the main TV, and I was like, no, this is big time. I need to watch it. And then
you should have let her.
At 50 minutes in, I was like, you can have the TV. But then she was like, and I kind of just kept it on the background. I would open up your chat and just say something really, really petty and bitter occasionally. You might have noticed. And then I didn't watch the last 10 minutes. I set up this microphone in the last 10 minutes. I see the score's 15, so we got to try. Yeah.
You did. And it was the try score by Caleb Clark, who touched
Caleb Clark is
twice.
Not an All Black. Like, he looked every inch of an All Black when he burst onto the scene for that 2020 season. Or was it 2020 or 20? Yeah, it was 2020 season. He looked really good. But he is just so defensively he's an absolute liability on defense. He just gets caught out on there. He gets skinned on the outside. So not skinned, but he just comes in far too often. And I think the Crusaders had worked him out. Yeah, and I think in terms of players that had played themselves out of position, I'm a big fan of Finlay Christie, but he won't be an All Black. I think Roygaard's got a better chance than him.
I like you.
Yeah. I like Roygaard. Yeah, I do like Roygaard. He's an attacking threat, and he offers something different than Aaron Smith. I think part of the reason he's an attacking threat is because he's always had dog shit at number 10 in the Hurricanes. He's no one to pass it to, so he just has to run it. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like when he's got D-Mac or Bodie or Richie Mwanga to pass it to. I don't think Bodie. I think Beauden Barrett's definitely going to be in the mix because he's Beauden Barrett and he's proven. But I don't think he did himself any favors tonight. But we'll see. We'll see how we go from there. To be fair, the Blues looked like they were really trying. They looked like they were playing with real intent and energy, but they were just lacked total composure. But playing dumb rugby, like just coughed the ball up so many times, just plumb dropped it, just bad passes, like just didn't play like a team. Played like a team that just came in overly hyped up, like just looked like a first 15 who just got over emotional about the game and just shat their pants, and then played a professional team that was just gonna fucking spank their bottoms rather nastily. There you go. Was that okay? Was that relatively PG? What I said?
Almost, other than the F word in the middle of it. But yeah, that was all right.
Well, how do you feel? What is your opinion on? Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Get off the fence. Get that picket out of your asshole. Okay, and picket fence. That's why there's a picket. And have the Crusaders been, of the last 7 years now? Are they been a good force for New Zealand rugby or a negative force for New Zealand rugby?
I'll be honest, it's not great at the moment, but the part that I kind of like just a little bit, if next week
tell me, okay, good. No. I don't. Tell me the bit you don't like. Okay, let's lead with the hate. What is it you don't like? Okay, nobody wants to hear your positive spin. Okay, we've had enough Kiwi lad positive spin. I want some real truth, motherfucker. Okay, I swore again. I apologize.
That's okay. It's like a teacher telling you off, isn't it? But then they don't normally use that part too often. But
okay,
I would say if the Crusaders win this season again, it will hurt the hype around the competition, because I saw a stat that said something about like Super Rugby Pacific is 10% up on the rise at the moment in terms of subscription for the competition. So there's more hype there at the moment, but that was because
10% on the rise in terms of like Sky subscriptions.
Yeah, 10% for like Sky subscriptions and anything Super Rugby, like watching numbers and everything.
Real figure. I feel like that is a cooked figure. Like that ain't true, man. Go out on the street and actually talk to the real people who are out there. Like, there are 3 types of lies in this world. Hamish, let me teach you about them. Teaching moment. There are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. Okay, so in terms of where those statistics have actually come from, that they're up on their subscriptions, is that a big part of it is due to the fact that Spark Sport has gone out as well, or like what is the jam on that? 10% up. I've never talked to more colleagues, peers, clients who are just like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's like it's just I guess the numbers are okay on YouTube for like their highlights packages, but you look at the crowds, nobody's there. Like, it's anyway. Okay, sorry, I just shouted over you. My apologies.
No,
and you know what I'm really irritated about? As well,
you don't have wine.
Yeah, I left my wine upstairs. That's irritated me too. Hey, go on. Sorry, I interrupted you. Tell me about. Do not put a positive spin on it. What is negative about what's going on? Okay, you tried to tell me something negative and you put a positive spin on it, and it got me cranky. Let's get critical.
Okay, so if the Crusaders win again, I feel like people will get put off a little bit for next season. But something that I like. Sorry, I've put in a positive spin on it.
This is 7 years. This is ridiculous, Hamish. Okay,
no, but the good news is, right, next week the Crusaders will be in the final. So whoever faces them, they are facing the champs. And really, for people to accept a loss of a Super Rugby title, they want the champs in the final to be up against that side. So if the Chiefs beat the Crusaders, then all of a sudden, you've beaten the top of the mountain. Now you've taken your throne. Whereas if the Crusaders aren't in the final, remember Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, Tony? Remember that competition?
We won that.
Yeah, everyone said it didn't exist. Yeah, you didn't beat the Crusaders. You didn't play the champs. So if you play the champs now...
By God, that is some weak sauce. You should be a politician, because you'd be able to freaking jizz off a bull and get some milk out of it. Like, that is some serious wank rag stuff right there. That, like, you're beating everybody wanted to see, like, not everybody. People hate Auckland, but nobody wants to see Christchurch win. Nobody wants to see the Crusaders win. It's just, and nobody wanted to see that today. Even people who hate Auckland their entire lives would have liked to seen this as a bit of a contest at least. Yeah, a lot of therapy. I agree with that guy. And he's orange, for God's sake. You and your weak sauce is really irritating me today. Tell you what, Shelley.
I feel like it is like the teacher, how like you're slowly pushing the buttons to see if the teacher will snap, and the teacher has snapped. I remember there was a class at our school. I wasn't in this class,
Okay.
but they made a teacher break down and leave.
Yeah, we've all done that. Do you need to go, or I'm gonna go get some wine. Okay,
You're gonna go get the wine. I mean, we could look through at some stats if you like. I could invite.
You go look at some stats. I'm gonna get some
don't
wine.
you?
I'll be
Okay.
back.
Sounds good. That was Tony, ladies and gentlemen. We all know Tony from Distracted Sports. He is from Auckland. He's feeling it a little bit. Loved your commentary. This is where bashing from Auckland this is just bashing from Auckland that's wearing very really thin. Says Peter there, and Super Rugby needs a Chiefs win, says Chuck, and I actually thought the Blues had a hope tonight. And I love rugby. That's why I love watching rugby. Says Scotty, then I'll be there, says Blues Nate, and New Zealand rugby at its best, says Chicky. And there as well. And also Blues were too complacent. They just didn't find that second gear early enough. And it is something that happened in their game up against the Brumbies. They started slow, took them about 15 minutes to get going. And then, unfortunately, from there, they just didn't quite get to that next stage that they needed to. And the Crusaders, relatively from start to finish, they had a few disciplinary issues, which I think they will get pulled up on next week as well. We're cheering on the Brumbies if the Chiefs botch it, says Josh, sorry. Yeah, looking at the stats, like 506 meters carried for the Blues, more than the Crusaders, who had 472. The Blues bit more defenders, identical clean breaks. Blues had more offloads. Blues did not score more tries. They had almost 1.5 times the amount of carries that the Crusaders had in the game. They missed less tackles, but they had to make 100 less tackles in the process. So that tackling rate actually went up quite high for the Crusaders. The penalties conceded was 11 apiece and 1 yellow card to the Blues. So statistically wise, they shouldn't have been beaten by the score that they were.
They're really interesting statistics, aren't they?
Would you like to come on for a chat, Tim? I know you're also a Blues supporter. It's better in a group environment because we help each other get through it. And to be honest, Hamish, Blues never ever had front rows from 1, 2, and 3. Had none all season. I think Tuanga Fasi was absolutely terrible in this game.
Offer, yeah, I don't know. It's right. I always find it difficult to actually comment about what front rows are doing because I see who's getting the penalty. Like, to be honest, I am not actually in a good position to comment because I was so depressed and I started watching it a bit late, but I was just fast forwarding shit. I was like, fuck this. Sorry, pardon my effing. I'll fucking stop it soon. And then because I started watching about half an hour, I was just kept on fast forwarding, just trying to get to a good bit. And all of a sudden we were 20 points down. It's pretty bad. So I think I fast forwarded. So he was getting dominated at the scrums, was he?
It wasn't even the scrums. Like he dropped the ball, I think 3 times or something.
Well, we were
he
quite
was the same
flat-footed
the side.
a lot of the time. Yeah, I don't know. He's a bit of, he can be good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like he's better in the scrums, isn't he? But outside of scrums, it seems like when Jordan Lay came on the field, they found a lot more success.
Did you see the Warriors last week, though? Did you see the Warriors?
I saw the score. But I didn't
saw the score. I was actually at the Blues game last week. I was actually in the crowd against the Waratahs. I was in the corporates. Somehow found my way in the corporates.
Did you sit with Mark?
I did. No. With Mark, 2 cents.
Yeah.
No. I was with my cousin. He had a last minute corporate little Suarez thing. It's great. You had a little aisle with a beer fridge at the end of your aisle. It's great. But then the last 20, then you go up into the corporate lounge and it's just like a big fancy bar basically. And you the Warriors were playing. So watch the last 20 minutes of the Warriors at Eden Park of all places.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that story. But we bet more defenders and made more meters.
Yep. Those are the stats that I can see. So it's weird to hear that, isn't it? Because I can't think of too many big line breaks that the Blues had.
I think it's probably, it says to me that we were a lot dumber, basically, like in terms of our tactically.
Although if you average that with the amount of carries that they had, per carry they were making maybe about 3 meters or 3.5 meters, whereas the Crusaders per carry were making around 4.5 to 5 meters per carry.
Yeah, right.
So it might just be that it evened out.
Are the Ashes starting tonight, are they?
They are. They start in 45 minutes time.
That's exciting. It's really exciting.
I'm staying up till 5:30
I reckon the Ashes have got. the Ashes have got more heat on them than the World Test Championship. I think the final.
Everyone wants to see how that Bazball is going to do up against the Aussie lineup.
Where are they? Is it? It's in the UK, yeah.
It is, yes. First game at Edgbaston.
Oh, they need to be at Lords for the opener.
We've got 2 cents rugby in the chat.
Get on, you sack of shit.
Okay. See, you're lucky. You can talk to him like that because you got a podcast with him.
You just call him a sack of shit. Mark, you should have heard what Hamish was call you. He said to me, he said, for a man so tall, I can't believe how small his penis is. That's what he said to me. Hey, and I can't believe you said that, Hamish. It was off air, but you know.
Oh, off air. I was going to say that seems like a weird thing to bring up on a Super Rugby semi-final, doesn't it? Well, that's a weird thing to bring up off live stream as well. What we were talking about beforehand.
You're an odd man. You spend 22 hours a day live streaming sevens, for God's sake. So you are odd. We'll give you that.
I feel like
he's jumping on. Send him a link.
How do I send? I don't know if I have a link for him. Hang on, we've got someone else who's popped in. There you go. There's a. Oh, you're very small. Hello, little Tim.
Edge.
Hang on. Oh, yeah, the
Rugby
boys.
Edge.
What was like this?
Can I send you an email, Tony? Can I send you like the link that then you can send to Mark?
You could do. You could. He won't jump on because he's a sack of crap with these sort of things. He'll be like, "Oh, wake up, my kids." Oh, he'll make some noises like that. Oh. Okay.
Uploading match review.
He'll probably do his reaction to the game as well.
Yeah, he probably will.
Does he
are you doing your reaction? What's that? How are you, Tim?
Yeah, all good. All good. I mean, I'm trying to keep in spirit essentially after what I just watched, but
you're drinking spirits, did you say? Me too. I'm drinking wine.
Exactly. Trust me, I wish I could have alcohol now, but it's pretty early still here, so
I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to judge you, bro. Rugby itch.
Terrible. Look, I have actually lost.
I'll stop touching things.
Where am I?
I think you. I like that one you had where you had a big rugby itch and you had a small us. Do that one.
Big rugby itch and small
big
us.
Rugby itch. Bringing them in big time.
We can go like that or that one actually, and then
no, that one. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, that works.
Right.
You can see his old background that way.
I'm going to ask you some pointed questions. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Question number 1: what are your thoughts on feminist art in post-communist Cambodia?
Oof. I don't know. Unfortunately, I do a little history, but not that type of history, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough. Failing that, what do you think of the Blues efforts tonight? And who shat the bed and will never play for the All Blacks ever again?
Well, I mean, look, to start off, I mean, the Blues performance was just kind of dreadful. That's kind of the word I kind of say to say just what the performance was overall. I mean, the Blues just. I kind of said it from the very beginning. Just don't let the Crusaders score within the opening 10 minutes, and then that's when you can kind of build a bit of momentum. But they literally scored they scored one, and then literally one right after the 10-minute mark. So I was like, I was just like, guys, like, what are you doing? And that first try, I think it was Brennan Enroy. It was a very easy try to concede because they left so much space on the left wing. But yeah, I mean, in terms of players who just kind of disappointed, I think throughout the game. I mean, I'm trying to because. The thing is that there's not players, in my opinion, who I think were just bad overall. I just think they weren't given the ball as much because Crusaders had so much possession. So in this game, I'd probably say, Kev Clark, Mark Talea, I'd probably say they had bad games because they had literally had no.
Well, Mark Talea made, not Mark Talea, Caleb Clark made a couple of very bad defensive reads.
Yes, yeah, he definitely did. But at the same time, I actually think I'm not trying to say Clark had a good game, but more of the tries were scored on the right-hand side where Talea was marking. So defensively, actually, I would actually say Talea actually had the worst game compared to.
I got 2 more questions for you. Okay, it's a 2-parter.
Of course.
Okay, the first question is: if you could be in physical contact to a South Islander right now, would you kick them in the nuts very hard? Because I don't think you should.
Any
South. I mean,
it depends on who, because
Hamish from the Kiwi lads. I would kick.
I think I deserve a kick in the nuts.
Hey, as Hamish, I love you, man. I think you're a great kid, but I would love to kick you in the nuts right now.
That's fair
force.
enough.
I
I
mean,
would
I
accept
mean,
it.
I had cousins actually down in Christchurch. So I mean, if they, I mean, I'm not sure if I'd kick them in the nuts, but I definitely have a few. I'd have an argument with them for sure after the game. I'm like, this is looks outrageous. Because the thing is, I saw what you guys said earlier on just about how this kind of what's the word? Like, kind of diminishes kind of like the competition overall.
It's bad for the game. It's killing the game.
Competitiveness really of the game.
The Crusaders are a poison that must be eradicated. That's what I've said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say no to that because there's a lot of truth in it. I mean, I gave the example on my channel, like where, I mean, I'm not sure if people watch like the Premier League, but like where Man City,
I watch every single video you've ever made, Tim.
In the last 3 years, like for like the Premier League, like the Man City, they've literally dominated the league. I mean, they dominated the whole kind of English competition, and it's kind of a similar thing with what Crusaders have done. So it's one of those where it's just like it's very predictable in terms of what it is. But yeah,
I hear you. At least in football, there's enough population and there's enough interest to keep it, financially viable and keep it afloat.
Oh yeah, I mean that's not.
Yeah, we're dealing with a country that's been the world's best at the sport, and due to coming up 7 years worth of domination, I've never in my lifetime, like almost 40 now, I'm going to be 40 this year, have seen rugby in such a bad place in New Zealand, and it's in a far worse place after this period of Crusader dominance. Okay, first they got that first win. Okay, cool. They won a lot, and then it's just stacked on and stacked on and stacked on to the point like if you're like rugby league is so much bigger in Auckland right now. Like the crowds are bigger, the interest is bigger. Like the man on the street is going to talk to you about league. They're going to tell you openly that they can't stand rugby right now. They're sick of it.
Really? That's what I said.
Would that still be the case if the Warriors were losing, though? Do you think it's because the Warriors are now having a pretty decent season that people are like, okay, I'll pick
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But that was the only thing holding the fucking union up was the fact that the Warriors were shit. Now the Warriors are doing well. Like it's just they're going. Why my big face? My face is fat enough. Let's get this out of here.
Tim's back in
there we
the
go.
I'll be back on that.
Look at that sexy bitch.
That's a weird combination of words, Tony, isn't it?
What, sexy bitch?
Like, one of them's like a compliment, and then one of them's like a.
It's all right.
Yeah.
There we go. What is he doing? What are you looking
I'm
at?
the comments right now, just checking to see what everyone's saying.
Yeah, we haven't really read too many comments. One of them earlier on said that 2 cents had come on, but he's hiding from us.
Gareth Ferguson saying, Mr. Richie, good to see you, man. Yeah, good to see you, man, as well. I mean, what do you guys think about the game? Like, because I gave my man of the match on the channel. Like, who do you say is your man of the match in terms of the whole game?
Ooh, okay,
my man of the match was my dying soul, as it was ripped out of my arsehole as I watched the game I loved sink to new lows. As the team I've supported since the inception of Super Rugby completely shat the bed, and my mortal enemy once again held my soul and my heart in front of my face as they pulled it from my rectum. That's
fair enough.
That's my man.
That's almost poetic, isn't it? It's beautifully put, Tony.
Graphically puff. Well, who was your man of the match?
My man of the match, I would say. I mean, Inall was impressive. Goodhue did pretty well on the inside as well, but I mean, it's hard to like. The thing is, normally in these big games, you see one guy who stands up just that little bit more than the others, and you go, he's my man of the match. Whereas the Crusaders, as annoying as it's going to be for me to say, and now, of course, I'm going to be sitting on the fence again, but there are multiple players that led to this Crusaders victory going the way that it did. Whether or not that was... no, I took it away.
That was good.
I was milking a cow.
Jeez.
But whether or not that was like the midfield combination, Moonga was impressive at number 10. In the 4-pack, Sione Avili Talatui was doing quite a bit. Barrett as well, strong. So yeah, I'm tricky. Who was your man of the match, Tim, that you gave?
I actually gave it towards Brandon Enor. I thought he was the guy who actually impressed me the most. Again, when I came, because I always narrowed it down towards free, I said it was Lester Fananku. I said Richard Moana because he just controlled the game by itself, really. And then I said Brandon Edwards because I thought, I mean, he got the first try at the end of the day. And I thought he had probably the best try assist, I say, actually, in the game as well, where he kind of followed that quick pocket pass towards Will Jordan, who scored underneath the post. I thought it was a really good try. It kind of just shows you why Brandon Enor, I believe, because I've always rated Brandon Enor. Like, since he came onto the scene for the Crusaders, I was like, whoa, this guy is, like, he's something special. Like, he kind of reminded me of, like, I'm not saying you'll get to that level, but, like, he kind of reminded me of, like, Conrad Smith back in the day when he was first playing. Like, when Enor broke onto the scene, I was like, whoa, okay, we could have something here. But, again, his form has kind of died down just a bit just because of injuries, but he's kind of regaining it now. So he's definitely
It's
someone
interesting though.
He's
Like whenever he's played for the All Blacks, he hasn't had an outstanding game.
exactly.
Like,
that's what I was
he hasn't
say.
had any shot, and this is the thing that I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Like these guys, when they play under Scott Robinson for the Crusaders, like Lester Fayanuku and Braden Enor, and even like if they put their money on any sort of outside bolt, I had $10 in this. Eat my asshole, Mark. It. You can grab a spoon and
I
dig it. But anyway, like these teams,
that strategy though. You hear that that takes place. How it's like you back the other team so that if they win, you make money.
Yeah,
or if your team
you
wins,
meant to put enough money on it that would make you sting.
I mean, I kind of technically did the same thing because I play Super Brew and I do like the fantasy version. I put literally 8 players from the Crusaders and none from the Blues because I was like, okay, I'll either benefit from the Super Brew or benefit from the actual live score. So I'll check my Super Brew, but it should be pretty good when I look back at it now. But
good on you.
Yeah, gosh.
I mean, if
he's dropped the video,
he's finished his video. That means he's not doing the review anymore.
Do you want me to send him a link? Send me a link and I'll send it to him.
I mean, he might not join, but if he does,
he probably won't.
We like Mark, don't we? We don't mind. I feel like I can make these jokes because you guys are slightly. I feel like we're slightly buds, aren't we, Tony?
Yeah,
and
we're
you.
great friends. Yeah. Great friends.
I remember you told me to F off at the start of this, but that's okay.
Well,
that happens.
I am finding myself getting quite aggressive towards you when you give like a sensible comment on this game. I'm like, just shut up.
Any positive thing of like that.
If he says, either of you say, well, Braden Enor looked actually really great. He showed that he's quite, he should be given a chance. Fuck you. Eat my freaking balls. Sorry. I'm sorry. 2 cents viewers. No, Kiwi Lads viewers just, I don't know. Can they handle this level of profanity? This is getting demonetized, the amount of swearing I've done. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, Hamish is not earning anything from this video now.
Yeah. Well, you can get any. Did you get any donations in the game itself?
3.
Oh, there you go.
So you'll still get those, but like not many people watch live streams post the game anyway. So
yeah, no, but like, how many people are on at the moment?
We currently still have 190 watching.
That's good.
190 people watching this shit. Get a life. Fuck.
Ash's stream says, Junaid, yeah, me and my dad are going to be doing that first session.
Oh, here we go. So I'll send this to
Mark.
What time is the Ashes, by the way? That's
I don't know. It says Kwasi. It did indeed. So the Ashes, we are starting in 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's soon.
Hold on.
We're soon to know the toss.
Should I give Mark a call as well? I'll give Mark a phone call.
I feel like he's going to get annoyed with me through you.
Yeah, I think he should. You've been very annoying to him.
I know. Yeah, 20 minutes time though for the Ashes. It's going to be a good one. Seeing the Aussies go head to head up against. No, don't call me.
Don't call it.
It is on Spark Sports.
Oh, he sent me. Oh shit!
Hang on. It was almost leaking his number.
Yeah, he sent me straight to voicemail. Mark, wow. I'm gonna call again, and if you don't answer the phone, I'm gonna play that whole message, mate. Okay, here we go.
No.
Here we go.
They're holding him hostage.
Gosh. Yeah, it's just one of those games where I
won't do it.
I am lost.
He's sending me straight to voicemail. The mother trucker.
His phone's still on flight mode. He has said.
Yeah, that's the correct call, by the way. I agree with Mark in this situation. I wouldn't want to be on. I
don't mind.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think the boys, the lads, are almost summarising this one for another week. We might see you guys back tomorrow, I'm sure, for more Bantosaurus Rexing. We'll get yarn.
I'm done with rugby.
Sorry about your
Done with
Blues,
rugby.
Tony.
I'm going to change my channel to a volleyball channel.
I would
what I'm
watch
all
that.
about.
I've
Yeah,
been
what
told
then?
many times I should commentate women's beach volleyball. I don't know why.
It's a competitive game.
I see some highlights actually from women's volleyball in New Zealand now. I've seen a lot more on like Twitter now for some reason. I don't know why. It's like everything to do with.
I think it
sport.
recommends similar things that you've been watching.
Yeah.
I found myself watching a lot of trampoline stuff recently.
Trampolining does look fun though. Have you seen my trick shot, Tony?
Oh yes.
No, I have not. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Hang on, let's see if we've got it here somewhere. If it's still here, you're gonna.
Very
Oh, here it is. You ready? I want to know out of 10 what you'd rate this.
6.
Now
That
I don't
doesn't
want to
look
say
like-
I was Dude Perfect before Dude Perfect was a thing.
Can you you were dude adequate there.
Oh, there you go.
Well, like, do it. Show me one more time. Show me one more time, because
More
that doesn't
time?
look like you to me.
This is when I was very young.
How old?
This was like maybe 14. 14 year
Yeah.
old
He's underage there.
14. So that was less than 10 years ago. See, I considered less than 10 years ago not that long ago. 'Cause I'm old. All right.
Yes. It was quite
Let's-
windy though. We got to.
let's see one more time. I quite
Can I
like
say-
my favorite bit of it is that when you're like face down and ass up at the end. I don't know why. That's just my favorite bit.
I
but
did say
yeah.
I was 14. No.
Yeah, now you made me feel creepy. Thank you. No, that was very good. I rate that at 11.5 out of 10. Congratulations. That's from the Auckland judge.
Mm.
Hmm.
No, it was good fun. We've had
Can
some.
I do your sign off
actually-
for you?
Can if you like. Do you remember it off by heart? I'll make you bigger.
So there we go. Again, that's what we got for. I don't do things seriously,
on,
so this is
you
going to
can
be
do
hard.
You can do it.
Hold on. So that's about all we've got to say for tonight's stream. I only know the very final line, which is okay. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you again for the next one.
We
Is
should
that
also mention.
You're
We've
doing
got
the ashes.
Doing the ashes. 18 minutes time.
Okay, let me do it
Sure,
again. Let me
pop
do it
on over.
again.
Okay.
Okay, of course, we've got the Ashes coming up, and that's going to be a cracker of the series. How is Bazball going to cope up against the power of the World Test Champions Australia? Really looking forward to that. That's going to be starting in around about half an hour. So make sure you're back for that. And until then, go have yourself a cry wank and slap yourself around a little bit. Like and subscribe. Stick your finger up your own asshole, and I'll see you again for the next one. Yes,
Sure,
rugby
Check
itches
out
there
rugby.
too.
Yes.
Oh,
And
I'll just like and subscribe.
Why no celebration after trick shot, says Mark. I think there was a little fist bump. I just cut it off before you get to see the celebration.
Right. I thought my sign off was like a 10 out of 10.
It
Considering
was.
I read it.
That's pretty good.
It was decent overall. We'll allow it. But nonetheless, I guess we are at the end. I'm kind of doing another sign.
I just did it. What are you doing? We don't have to do this.
Yeah,
It's already
pretty
done.
Good, pretty good send off. I'll do the actual send off now.
Oh, okay, what? We'll stick Tim in the box seat. Go on, Tim.
No,
send
no,
off
I'm
for
not
you.
doing the send-off.
Nah, go on.
This is like-
You've watched enough of my videos. You know.
You know what? Let's just we'll just keep it short. Thank you for everyone that came along. Greatly appreciate everyone who came along towards this live stream. Let's subscribe right now. Click the subscribe button, guys. Click the like button, guys. Click the like button, guys. We need to smash that. Smash that. And then we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next time.